Hello AJ, how are you doing, mate?
Well, Franklin, it's absolutely baking, and I feel like a chicken in an oven here.
Do you actually think it is baking?
Oh, it's absolutely roasting.
I've been going from hot to cold all day.
You've got 2 layers on at the minute.
Well, I've got 2 layers on because I went out earlier on, and if you're in the shade, it's pretty cool, isn't it? Breezy, cool. It's not a really warm wind, is it? If you're in a nice little sheltered area with the sun beaming down on you, you could get a suntan. There's absolutely no doubt about that.
Yeah.
Not that I've had the time to do that, unfortunately, today. But
or the
it'd
complexion.
Be nice if I could have. No, it's not really good for me anyway because I've got sun damage already.
There it is.
So.
Yeah, it's been a quite uncomfortable sort of day in the heat. Really, I've been to take the dog out for a walk this afternoon, and we were both absolutely gasping by the time we came back. It was so hot, because there's very little wind. There was very little wind, around my neck of the woods. So it was just all sun, like a very clear day, all sun and all heat. And then I had to, as part of job, I had to drive up to Preston from Wigan. That was 25 minutes in, glazing hot sunshine as well. So I'm not thrilled by this spring and summer. I don't like it.
You don't like it? Oh, I love the sunshine. I like it to be a little bit cooler than too hot.
Yep.
So anything slightly above this, maybe around about 20, 21 degrees, I could be happy. Could live off that.
Could you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. 21 degrees, I think, is probably comfortable, maybe a bit higher than comfortable.
Right throughout the year. If that was, but as long as they can maintain that temperature up until about 10 o'clock at night and then switch it off, I'm putting it back
switch
into
it off at the
air conditioning. You know what I mean? Because I hate going into bed into a sweaty bed.
I can't do that.
I've
got like a little plug-in air conditioning unit next to mine as well. I have to have that on most nights.
Well, we have believe it or not, we have what are they called? A sleeping blanket. What are they called? Electric blanket.
Yes.
We've got an electric blanket.
You are of that age.
Absolutely. What do you mean I'm of that age?
There's only certain people of a certain age that have electric blankets.
You know what? I'm trying to work out how young I am now.
You're 58.
I'm 58. I keep thinking I'm 57.
Well, you're close enough.
And that sort of me turning around and saying, just about to say I'm not that old, and then I can't remember what I'm thinking about. So
there it is. Exactly.
That's got a lot to do with age.
I don't want to tell you that, but it's the heat is not easy, and an electric blanket is very 1980s.
Oh no, it isn't anymore because they've come on leaps and bounds.
Well, you don't die.
Mine's got thermostatic control, so you can go from 1 to 6. You can have it on from 1 hour, 3 hours, or 9 hours. I prefer to go for the 9 hours over the night. Yeah. It's good for my arthritis.
I suppose so. Yeah.
I think it is anyway. I don't know. I still wake up.
Well, you're not sleeping, Frank, so how would you know?
Yeah, I know. Well, you know what? I decided to come off the tramadol for a very short period of time.
How did that go?
Well, I'm cold turkey now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So,
right. Well,
let's say cold turkey. I'm in a terrible amount of pain. I can just about bear it with tramadol. Without it, I'm useless.
I do not know how this is good for you.
No, it's not. But like I was saying, I've got to get a second opinion on my back because the way I've been left in limbo, I'm not happy with it at all.
No, I wouldn't be happy with that either. I'm just in constant pain every day. Jesus.
Yeah, absolutely constant pain. And it's more difficult for Rowena watching it rather than the other way around. Because we've got that much pride. So we went into, obviously it's the race night.
Yes.
It's the race night tonight. Well,
yes.
It's tomorrow night, but we record the show a night before. But when it comes out, it'll be tonight.
But if you're listening to this in the middle of January, it's not.
It's not, no. It's over. It's over and done with, yeah. So it's Friday the 24th of April, and it starts at 7 o'clock. And tickets are still available.
Yes, they are.
So if you wake up in the morning, you're listening to this show, and you fancy a night out with the races, with the horses, then you're more than welcome. So what was it talking about now? Because ages...
Well, you were talking about the weather, and then electric blankets, and then tramadol, and then the race night.
Race night, yeah.
Being old and forgetting your age.
I know, yeah, but I've forgotten what was actually talking about now.
Well, we were talking about the weather first of all, like how hot it is.
But forget the weather because
21 degrees.
I've moved on from that now.
Air conditioning units. You've got an electric blanket.
That was about my legs.
Where did that come from?
The race night. So we were talking about me pain and what have you. So me pain management. So I went to Next the other day to look for a shirt and a waistcoat and a jacket for the race night. That's where the race night comes into it.
Mm-hmm.
So in Aintree, there's a big set of 2 flights of stairs or something like that. I think 2, maybe 3 flights of stairs. So I bounded up that like I was an Olympic athlete. And
why?
Because I don't want people to know how much agony I'm in when I do it. So I'm literally crawling up the stairs here in the house. But it was just total pride. And then I turned around to look at Rowena, who's going up really, really slowly. And she said, I don't care. She said it was hurting me. She said, you should just let it. You just should walk up as slow as you need to. But that's the reason I mentioned that. Anyway, listen, I don't want to carry on about your pain.
Yeah,
I don't want to carry on about pain because it's quite miserable.
I have a question then. Okay. So, of all the production team at the Speaking Frankly football show, you are the eldest. So,
where's this going?
The question is, how old do you think you should be before you hand in your driving licence?
Oh, right. Well, Rowena's got an opinion about this.
Mm-hmm.
And she says that, I'm pretty sure that she said 80 years of age is the...
80?
She thinks she'll still be driving now until she's 80.
Okay.
Beyond that, she said, I don't think she wants to drive.
It is appropriate to mention that Rowena is 49, so she's still got a little way to go.
49? She'll love you.
I'm not going to tell her that. I'm not saying anything more than the Rowena is 49.
So she's got a few years to go before she retires from driving. Why do you ask the question?
I have asked the question because last Sunday my car was hit by another car.
Oh, right. I was going to ask the question why it was ill, your car. It's in the sick bay, isn't it?
It is in the sick bay, yes. It was hit from the side on by a man in a BMW 1 Series who was 86 years old.
86?
Mm-hmm. 86
so how did it happen?
So I was driving up a B road. I'd come back from the gym, going up a B road as normal. Mm-hmm. And
can you mention this B road? Or
yeah, so it was...
It's just so we can all avoid it.
It is... the intersection of Shevington where Wigan Road meets Old Lane.
Oh, I know what you mean, yeah.
It has the very tight bend.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it's on that bend. And if you know that area quite well, you'll know that Church Lane is a side road that leads off into the middle of Shevington itself.
Yeah.
So the car in question was approaching Old Lane from Church Lane. So he'd pulled up at the junction and I was coming up the B road and to make my way around and carry on. But instead of stopping at the junction, he crawled into my lane. So I braked and went down to about 5 miles an hour thinking, oh, he'll stop and he'll wait for me or he'll go around my car. Didn't, just accelerated right into me.
Crikey.
Yeah, just smashed up my headlight, my grille, my bumper, the screen wash just flooding out as well, and the wheel is bent a bit.
I take it he's not argued about it. He's
taking
full responsibility for it.
Yes, he has, in fairness. And I have a dash cam anyway.
Right, well, listen, they're always worth the weight in gold, although it contributed towards my back problem.
It did contribute
well, it did sort of, but then
it
became a diagnosis in the end, because if I hadn't have done that, I'd have probably carried on going round without knowing that I could be paralysed.
Yes, so there was kind of method in the madness, and there wasn't like an eventuality for the joy.
So the insurance company have been in touch, have they?
My insurance company have been in touch, and they've taken
haven't.
No, not yet. But
are you worried that he's still got a driving licence?
Yes. I don't want to incriminate him too much, but there were some things that were sort of said and what have you that lead me to believe that actually the people who are over a certain age are probably more danger on the road than any of them.
Did he take responsibility for it?
When we were there, and at the time, yes, he absolutely did. Yeah. Never argued the toss with it at all.
So he's very old school, because my dad would have always turned around and said, at no stage do you take responsibility for any car accident.
Yeah, I mean, I've got the dash cam all sort of put that to bang to rights if it was needed. But it worried me that there are people like that who are still out on the road causing absolute mayhem without even realising it, because they're in control of heavy machinery, as it's called. Yeah. You know, like on the Battle of back of medicine boxes, they said do not operate heavy machinery, and they clearly don't mean a forklift.
And did he strike you as that type of person when you actually spoke to him? You thought, well, because some 86-year-olds, you can look like a 70-year-old.
Well, yeah, he did. He was quite youngish looking for the age that he was, and he was able to move about.
But you started to worry when you seen the little white stick in the back of the car. Is that what it was?
Well, it's the fact that he couldn't actually see where I was. No, I'm joking. There was a dog.
There was a Stevie Wonder moment.
There was a golden Labrador Retriever with a high-vis vest jacket on in the passenger seat.
Did he get hurt, by the way?
No, neither of us were. I love how you asked whether he was hurt and not me.
Well,
Frank!
I'm assuming you could sustain an injury better than he could, so
yes.
I'm being nice to the older person.
Yeah, that's fine. He didn't sustain any injuries at all. Like he was fine. I was fine. He was actually able to drive his car home back to where he lived, and I had to wait for breakdown recovery.
So you've got breakdown recovery.
Yes, I do. The AA gold standard, £30 a month.
That's brilliant because a lot of young people don't bother these days. So respect.
It was the first thing.
Respect to you, man.
It was the first thing that my mother and father told me to do when I got a car. Was
my mum and dad always said the same thing.
Get yourself good breakdown recovery, and it's lasted us extremely well. I've been with them now for about 6 years. I do have to pay the premium price for something that I very rarely use, but it's really handy when I've been stuck on the side of a motorway, which has happened once.
Yeah, it pays dividends in the end.
Yes, it
so
does.
Where are you? So you've said that initially he was subservient. He was agreeing that it was his fault.
Yeah.
But he's changed a little bit now, has he?
No, it's not that he's changed his mind a little bit. I think he's still going to own up to it. I've not heard from his insurance company, but I've heard from mine, and they say that they've sent the details across to his insurance provider, so things are starting to move.
So the assumption is he has got an insurance provider. The problem is now whether he's actually got a valid driving licence.
So he handed it over to me, so that
he
is
did.
fine.
Yeah, I know. But in terms of you could hand something, I mean, what age do you have to have? A retest? It's like a re-examination.
75, yeah.
So is it a medical or a retest? I can't remember what it is.
It's a medical assessment, I believe.
Is that all it is? There's no retest?
So, no, I think you have to have a retest if there's a certain amount of incidents within a certain period of time, I think.
Yeah.
But between the DVLA and the GP, I think they collaborate together to kind of make the necessary checks about whether he is capable and able to drive safely.
So how long do you think your car's going to be in the sick bay for?
Well, what are we on now? Thursday. So it got picked up and taken to the sick bay in Atherton on Monday. So if any of our friends at Atherton LR, Atherton Coles, even Daisy Hill, if any of you can do me a favour, just hurry my car up in the sick bay, that would be wonderful. But no, it's already been 3 days, and I just have to wait. Unfortunately, I just have to. I have a courtesy car through my insurance.
All right, yeah, there you go. Yeah. Well.
No, actually, it wasn't through my insurance. It was through the AA. It was through a breakdown provider. So right. I have a courtesy car through my breakdown provider, yeah. So they dropped that off on Monday morning.
Brilliant.
So I am still, on the road, and I am still
mobile. Yeah.
I'm still mobile.
So it happened to me, didn't it? Was it last year? Can't remember. A woman reversed into me car. The back of my car. She reversed into the back of my car. I can't remember exactly what she did now. So my car was in the garage for a while, was it?
I think it was year before last, because I don't remember you not having that big Toyota.
Yeah, because what they did, Enterprise gave me one of those cars. I thought they were lovely. The Cupra. When it's advertised on the telly?
Yeah.
I thought, absolutely stunning. Driving it was horrible.
Really?
Yeah. No.
Enjoy it.
No. I mean, listen, nice enough car, and for many people, I suppose it would suit them. But I'm just maybe. It was one of the bigger cars. It was the
Formentor.
I can't remember. It was a 4-wheel drive.
One of those ones.
Cupra. Yeah.
Is it that one?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Oh, they look phenomenal. I thought that they were going to be
the one
really
that you see on the advert.
Yeah,
and it spins round.
Yes,
and it looks gorgeous.
That's
it's
the
all gleaming.
Formentor, yeah.
Was it orange as well? Was it burnt orange?
Something like that. Yeah.
Because I think the one that I got was a burnt orange one,
okay.
and I thought, this is my dream. I've got the car and I think it only had at less than 1,000 miles on the clock. So when I got in it, like, you could smell it was brand spanking new.
Just factory new.
But it just, I don't know whether it was. I've tried different cars out before. What was the other cars I used to try out? And I used to like the look of them, but when I actually sat in them, the seats were like racing car seats,
bucket seats.
Yeah, they cramped my style. You know what I mean? So I didn't enjoy it at all. And that was pretty much the similar. The dashboard, everything about it, the style of it looks sleek. But like every car, when it's got dirt on it, it looks crap. You know what I mean? So so that happened to me a couple of it was a couple of years ago. It was at Bearscough. No, it was at Bearscough. Yeah, we were at Bearscough at the time. So I was going into Ashurst. I'd parked outside the shop, and then the next minute, this woman had bumped into me. Oh. I felt sorry for it. I mean, listen, they owned up to it straight away. There was no hassle at all. The insurance company were on to me before I even had a chance to say boo. And everything sailed through.
That's good.
The only thing is that it's weird, isn't it, really? When everybody accepts responsibility for it, the insurance, you have to sign a form to say that if there's a shortfall, you have to pay. It has to come out of the costs of the accident.
Oh snap!
Yeah,
didn't know that.
Yeah, we just be very careful because you can end up with a bill. I never knew that, but I don't know the exact terminology of the paperwork that I signed. But it could, I mean, I remember getting told, "Don't worry, it never happens."
Okay.
But you know what? The possibility is it could, and you could end up with costs, even though the other parties accepted full liability.
That's cheeky, that.
Yeah. Honestly. So always watch out for the small print, and particularly if you're signing anything. You need to know that in advance.
That's fine.
Yeah. But
so what a ball.
It's not nice, is it?
What ball?
But the shock, I would imagine the shock of it was a little bit perturbing.
I hate stuff like this. Is horrible, to be honest, regardless of whether it's a little bump or not. And like I just closed a claim on one that had lasted for near enough 3 years. Sorry, 4 years actually. Been 3.5 by the time it was closed. So to then have to open up another one as soon as the previous one had been closed, didn't like that at all.
It won't affect your no claims, will it?
It won't affect my no claims. It will affect my premiums, though, because I've had to make a claim on the insurance, even though it's not my fault. My premiums will still go up. And I just...
Seriously?
Yes, genuinely.
How come?
Because it also measures the...
Mine went down this year.
I think it measures the liability of the car to manage in another crash, because this is if it happens again.
Right, I'm with you. That makes sense.
Yeah. So if the car can be saved,
if it was a brand new car, it'd be different.
I think so. Yeah, I think it would
be evaluated on that basis.
Our basis on the car, yeah.
The car is less likely to generate more damage through another crash.
I think so. Yeah, and it's also worth more to fix it as well, which is the other thing. So the insurance company have said that from the pictures I've provided them, they think it's fixable. I'm not sure. Like, if it was just cosmetic damage, I would get it and I'd understand.
So you're worried it's going to get written off?
I think it's a possibility because the steering racket has been affected. The wheel is actually bent a little.
But as we know, even when a car's written off, you can re-establish it on an L plate, can't you?
Yeah.
Is it an L plate or a P plate or whatever it's called? A T plate, is it? I can't remember now. It's something or other, but I don't know whether that still exists. So if a car's been written off, it's been written off for insurance purposes, because that means the insurance company are not likely to pay the full whack to repair it. Because but if you're prepared to pay the excess to get it back on the road, you still could.
You can. It's a category N, I think it is.
N.
Yeah,
N
it's a category N. So all that means is that the car has been written off, but it's been resalvaged and refurbished. Yeah. But would I want that, or would I want to get something new, which is
you were searching for a second car. Now you could be in a situation where you searching for two, not one, which is a nightmare.
Well, the thing is, I don't mess about. So I've had this car for 3.5, 4 years nearly, and it happened. I got that car on the basis of my previous car was written off. I got a payout from the insurance company, and I got a little bit of financial help, and then I bought that thing 2 weeks after the crash happened. So I don't mess about whatsoever. I mean, it was lucky that all the parameters came together. It was within my budget, good mileage. It was red. It was a decent size engine, and it was a really nice looking car as well. So everything stacked up for me, fine. But if I have to go through that again, I'm not entirely sure that I'll get kind of the same good deal quite as quickly. It was 2 weeks, and I took the train from Wigan down to Northampton to get it. It was about 3.5, 4 hours on the trains just to get a car and then drive 3 hours back up.
Because you're willing to go anywhere to buy a car, aren't you? Because you did it with you went to see a Mini, didn't you?
We did go and see a Mini in
South Wales, was it?
No, it was Walsall. Mm-hmm. And we didn't get that one in the end. It was.
Sorry about the crackle, but I'm going to drink some water. It's hot in here, isn't it?
It is. Yeah.
It's
Radiator is off. Good.
Good.
We'll drive anywhere to go and... I will drive anywhere to go and buy a car. Jamie will drive anywhere to go and see one.
Pardon me. Go on.
Have you quite finished with your sound effects?
No, only you. Yeah, so listen, just for content purposes there, context I should say, is that was not actually a can opening. That was my impression of a can of orange zero sugar opening. And this?
That's the sound of you pretending to swig it, isn't it?
It is indeed.
There you go. Whereas I don't have any chocolate in front of me today, so...
Listen, she's been that busy, hasn't she?
I'm bereft! No, it's fine. It's fine. The marathon is on Sunday, so no chocolate for me.
Yeah. So what did we finish off with there on the car? Did we sort that problem out, did we? Oh yeah, because you'd gone to the end of the earth, hadn't you, to get a car?
I'd gone to Northampton to get one. Jamie had gone to Wolverhampton with me to look at one. Yeah. She's still not found one as yet. So the wait now goes into October, November, December, January, February, March, April. We're now into 7 months of this kind of crap.
but listen, you should be proud of the fact that you've got a very patient girlfriend.
Why do I have to be... No.
Patience is a virtue.
That's fussiness, that isn't patience. Completely different standard of what patience is, Franklin.
Anyway, listen, moving on to TV, because I mentioned it last week, didn't I?
God!
I've been watching At Home with the Furies.
Yes.
And I've been really, really enjoying it. It's second series. I'm into episode 10. I don't know whether this is the final episode. One assumes it is because... we've got to the state. I don't want to spoil it too much for anyone, but he doesn't really spoil it anyway because you probably know where it's going to go. It's pre-fight, so before he fought his last fight, and he's
the one that we just saw this weekend.
Yeah, the weekend or so ago, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So what we do know is that he's got a rotator cuff injury.
Yeah.
That he needs to have operated on before he can go back to boxing, and eventually. He announces to his dad and his brother, who's the good-looking fellow. Tommy Fury, yeah. He's got lovely eyes, hasn't he? He's got smouldering eyes. Have you seen them? Blue eyes?
Yeah, it's a shame there's nothing behind him.
I know, I wasn't going to say that, like, I mean, I said to Rowena, it's rather good-looking, that lad, isn't he? Like, and she's like that. I was going to say he's not particularly bright, is he? But listen, he's probably a lot brighter than we actually give him credit for, to be fair. He doesn't seem that daft. But anyway, listen, I don't want to get punched by Tyson, so I don't mind getting punched by him, but by Tyson, no, I'm not having it. And I do go. Well, I say I used to go to Morecambe quite regularly, but he's gone to the Isle of Man now.
Yes, he has.
I don't know where he's got up to on that one, but we know he has moved to the Isle of Man because it's been documented. But yeah, been watching that, and he's decided now. He's told his family that he's coming back out of retirement. Very complex character, and when amongst all this chaos that is part of the At Home with the Furies, is a very vulnerable character. Struggling with huge mental health issues, and whilst everybody's telling him, I think he limps around the house, he struggles, he looks as though he's struggling to get up the stairs and get down them. I don't know whether that's got anything to do with his height, but he does say at some stage that, never mind getting me shoulder done, I need 2 knee replacements as well because I'm absolutely goosed. But listening to it from the flip side of that, Paris is turning around and saying, well, he runs that often, he's always running all the time, he's got to be constantly in pain. So this complex character, it comes into this episode, and the news has come that Ricky Hatton's took his life, and it's thrown that question back out there. He's been thinking about it time and time again. The only thing that keeps him going is being in the gym and fighting. He's got nothing else to back it up. He's got all this money. He's got little business interests and what have you. He's got a big family, which, to be fair, hard work, but that's their choice.
Yeah.
You know, that's the style of life that they decided to lead. But yeah, I think the news that Ricky Hatton had taken his life really took, because he was a big friend of his. It made him rethink his life, and he's decided now, from what we can see there, that he's going to get the operation, and then he's going to fight again, which we know he has fought again.
Yeah, of course.
Whether he got the operation, I don't know, because I don't know what the time scale on this is, because I don't know. When was it when Ricky Hatton took his life?
God.
Was it last year?
It was. It was about last July, June, something like that.
So it probably about 12, coming up to 12 months, 10 to 12 months since it happened. It could have been last April, couldn't it? So yeah, roughly about 12 months. But he's obviously, we've come to this stage of the year where he's actually fought a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
So within that year, would he have been able to have an operation and box at the same time, or has he gone down the old route of getting injections? So I haven't got that far, but I don't know. Well, what I found interesting was I've been saying to people, listen, if you get the chance to watch at home with the Furies, watch it. It's really, really good to watch. I really like it. It's not like your typical fly on the wall sort of documentary. Or reality program. It's a more honest one, even though you know it's put together a little bit, because it has to be to a degree.
Entertainment.
But it's really good, and it's interesting to know. It's a worry, to be fair, to see where he goes from this point onwards, because he said he didn't want his legacy to be that he'd been a world champion, he'd never been beaten in 17 years, and then all of a sudden he lost twice. So he didn't want to leave the ring on a loss. But somewhere down the line here, you just feel as though that's going to happen again, because he's probably going to go into the ring again with Deontay Wilder. And then he's going to take on Joshua. I think the old Fury beats AJ hands down. Not you, but...
He beats me too.
Anthony Joshua. But now I don't really know. After watching that and the way he's struggling, and then his dad saying he's saying you should not fight again. His brother, his family, they're all saying the same thing, that they know more about his health, his physical health, as well as his mental health. So yeah, big worry, but well worth watching, because there's lots of fun in it as well. You know, he's quite a funny, charismatic character.
Of course he is. Yeah.
Tyson Fury.
He's lovely for that.
All the kids swear. The little kids.
Of course they do.
You know, they'll turn around and say, "Oh, you're a little shit, you know." And,
sounds about right.
Unbelievable. But there is a scene where they go to a chalet just on a lake somewhere up in the Lake District of all places, and Tyson and his dad end up having a little play fight on the couch. It's just funny. And then later on that day, he tells him, "I'm going back in the ring," and he says, "Well, if you go back in the ring, that's..." He didn't say that's you and I finish, but I will not be helping you.
Okay.
I will not be in your corner.
Wow.
And we know from recent events that they've not been speaking to each other.
No, their relationship has quite broken down a bit.
That's sad, because although he's made the decision, and it's the wrong decision to the rest of the family, I still think there's a level of support that needs to be undertaken, and I think his dad will eventually come around. But they're both stubborn.
Yes, they are.
They're both stubborn, but they look out for each other, and that's why I can't understand why they're not speaking at the moment. But I mean, what he wouldn't want to see is he doesn't want him back in the ring, because he feels that he might fail in the ring, and he could end up coming out of the ring either brain damaged or dead. Even is dead. But you know, if that does happen, then he needs to make his peace with his son now, and I'm pretty sure he will before the next fight. I certainly hope so. But yeah, other than that, I want to bring the doom and gloom to it, but it's just mental health is, we talk about it. We don't probably talk about it enough, but if you if you look at him there, he's just like a man that's possessed. There's something there that's missing. And it is. It's that fight game, and I don't know how he gets around that. I don't know what he does. What can you suggest he does beyond boxing? Coaching wouldn't be good enough for him. Bring him through his own son, Prince, who wants to be a boxer himself, and he's boxing. And the other thing I found out, by the way, is that boxers, their sons don't normally go through the amateur route. And there's a good reason for that, because they become a target.
They're everybody's, belt match.
So they don't go through the normal amateur route. So
interesting notion, that. But a smart one, really.
Yeah, makes sense. But yeah, what do you think he should do? How do you think he can combat his mental health issues?
I mean, friggin' hell, that's a big question, isn't it? I can't be the one to just suggest what Tyson Fury does with his mental health. I mean, that's such a big question for any man.
How would you replace something as big, the magnitude of boxing? I mean, what was funny, really, he turned around and said that he would sooner, he would sooner box 20 fights than bring a family of 7 up on his own or something like that. Any day of the week.
Yeah,
so he was paying tribute to Paris because
of course.
How difficult it is for her.
Yeah, of course, being a solo parent sometimes when he's off at boxing camp or when he's zoned in for his fights.
Yeah. They quite funnily had a little argument, and he turned around and he said, "Listen, you stay in your lane." So that's become the new soundbite in our household now. So Rowena was giving me a little bit of grief the other day, and I just said to her, "Stay."
Bloody hell.
She said, "I'll bloody clout you if you
Poking
say that
the bear."
No, we laughed about it, to be fair, because we knew it.
Yeah.
I just playing on his words, really.
Yeah.
Anyway, listen, that's what I've been watching. I take it you've not had time with all your marathon training.
Do you know what? I did actually watch something the other day. And it was probably one of the most interesting things, like new things I've ever come across. It's called The Perfect Neighbour. All right, it's on Netflix.
Yeah.
All right, and it is all entirely police body cam footage and CCTV footage of this woman who lives in a very kind of neighbourhoody area of Florida. She's a single woman, lives on her own, and she has a constant gripe with the neighbourhood kids who play in the vicinity. All right. And she constantly has the police coming out to see her because she's made complaints about noise and trespassing, and all these, other like misdemeanors and what have you. And then one night it all escalates, but you see all the footage of all the police body cameras for the times that they go and visit her, go and visit all the neighbourhood families, the children, all the members of the community who kind of get pulled into this one woman's issues with.
Is it just one episode? Is it 1 episode long?
Yeah, it's like a full length docu-movie.
Yeah.
Called The Perfect Neighbour.
Oh, I'll have to watch that one. Yeah,
do watch that. It's like, I'm not really down with like true crime and what have you, but
I love true crime.
Yeah, well, I know you do. I never sort of pay attention to it, but that because of the way that it was put together with like the actual footage used, it was nothing but the footage. Absolutely smashed it. So I really enjoyed it. So there you go.
Right. So remind us once again, on Netflix?
On Netflix, The Perfect Neighbour.
The Perfect Neighbour. And on that point, we'll start the...
Perfect Podcast.
Exactly. Hello and welcome to the Speaking Frankly Football Show. I'm Frank Hughes, the chairman of Skelmersdale United Football Club, and alongside me is my co-host and passionate press officer, AJ the Jet. Not that being involved with the football club is a prerequisite for hosting a football podcast, but it certainly helps. We are ready to dive headfirst into the vibrant world of non-league football in the Northwest, and we might even take a moment to discuss some of the bigger headlines in the sport. We'll explore life in the Northwest counties, bring you interviews with well-known faces in the league and analyse how local teams are performing while making bold predictions for their upcoming matches. Nothing is off the limits here. We'll be diving into all kinds of topics, including complicated refereeing decisions and regulations that often leave fans perplexed. We want to hear from you too. This is your show, so don't hesitate to reach out with topics you want us to tackle. Let's get this conversation started and enjoy every single moment. We are speaking frankly. Hello and welcome to the Speaking Frankly football show. This is episode 39 in season 2, and a very warm welcome to my co-host AJ the Jet.
Hello Frank, hello everybody. Thank you very much for tuning in once again to the Speaking Frankly football show. Near enough all the business in the Northwest Counties has been finalised, but there's one or two games outstanding as teams look to take that playoff route into the higher echelons of the non-league system. So we'll be going down and around with all the fixtures and all the potential outcomes. So on today's show, we will go through the Northwest Counties as the final round of games were played last weekend. We'll go through the Premier League, Division 1 North, Division 1 South. We'll then move on to further afield, such as Marine and Prescott Cables, Bootle, Breck and Bury. We'll then go to Controversial Corner, and there's a lot to cover, including Ramsgate FC, FC United of Manchester, Joe Duckworth, Gary Neville, and the Liverpool County Premier League. We'll then round it up with a very small excerpt in our predictions and analysis. So, Franklin, what's to come first?
Well, we're going to go all the way through the show today because there's no guest. We did try to get somebody on from Widderstown to discuss the
permutations.
The permutations, how a team that has just started up, how they manage to get, what criteria they have to fit in order to get back into the National League system. So we'll talk about that a little bit later. But listen, top of the show, first of all, I would like to offer my sincerest condolences to the friends and family of former chairman of Stockbridge Park Steels, Alan Bethel, who passed away peacefully in the early hours of Thursday morning. I couldn't possibly claim to have known him very well, but during my first stint as chairman at SCEM, he once rang me up for a spot of advice. We just sold Georgie Donnelly to Plymouth, and they had a skinny lad called Jamie Vardy playing for them. He was released by Sheffield Wednesday, but it wasn't long before he was attracting attention from several Football League clubs. Alan contacted me for advice on how you value a player. To be fair, I didn't think he was anywhere near as good as Georgie Donnelly. But in short, I said, depending on the level of the club that wishes to sign him, for instance, a championship club, then I suggest around £30,000. Of course, we all know what Jamie went on to achieve and how little I know about valuing a player. Alan had been involved with Stockbridge Park Steels since its formation, so to get a call from him asking for advice was an absolute privilege. So rest in peace to Alan.
Peace.
Listen, moving on to the Northwest Counties Roundup. Premier Division, as we know, most of everything was pretty much sewn up before Saturday's game, but champions Wythenshawe, they finished off the season in style with a 7-1 win over Longridge Town with a decent crowd of 664.
Yeah, lovely final game of the season for Wythenshawe, and they put the icing on the cherry on what has been a very good bounce back season.
Did they not put the cherry on the icing?
No, you put the icing on the cherry. Tell me about these things, Frank. I know how it goes.
Put the cherry on the icing.
No, you put the icing on the cherry.
You put the icing on the cherry?
Of course you put the icing on the cherry, Frank. You Philistine.
Okay, sorry. Carry on.
It's all right. I will continue. Anyway, Aaron Dwyer bagged a hat-trick for Wythenshawe as they ran 7-in past Longridge Town. And that, who, if they'd conceded one more, Longridge would have been the 7th team to have conceded 100 goals in this North West Counties Premier League season. But as it is, they finished on 99. It's a very fortunate turn of circumstance for them. I think they must be grateful that Wythenshawe took their foot off the gas when Joel Lankers bashed home the 7th. Anyway, third place Atherton LR drew 0-0 with second place Ramsbottom at Crilly Park. Decent
I
game.
guessed that one as well, by the way.
Oh, you
I
did
call that a draw.
You called the draw. Oh,
Yeah.
Probably speaks omens for what's about to happen then. Anyway, decent turnout at Crilly Park, 343 in Atherton to see that game between those two in what might be a dress rehearsal of the Premier Division playoff final.
It could indeed.
Both of these teams separated going into the semi-finals. Both of them have home fixtures coming up in those playoffs. LR, of course, playing Padiham and Ramsbottom at home to Chadderton, who they confirmed their place in the playoffs with a 2-0 win over Stockport Town. Lewis Byrne, almost no surprise by now, notching his 63rd and 64th goals of the season to confirm that Chadderton on the last day made it through into the playoffs by a comfortable margin in the end. There was 4 points.
And almost half of their goal tally. And 64 goals.
Yes, indeed. They had 126 goals scored, which was the second highest in the league. Lewis Byrne responsible for about half of them, and Benito Lowe with probably about 20 of those as well. Absolutely
looking forward to it if it does become a Atherton Ramsbottom final, or a Ramsbottom Atherton final, I should say, because if it goes that way, Ramsbottom will definitely have the home advantage. Looking at both of their defences, the tightest. Almost the tightest, apart from Prestwich Hayes, the tightest defences in the league. There was no surprise that they drew 0-0. I don't think they'd want either team would have wanted to give up too much.
No,
in terms of showpiecing their talents.
I don't want to say it was a dead rubber game, but they didn't have anything to play for that weekend.
Yeah,
they knew where they were going.
It was a dead rubber.
Yeah, it in effect was a dead rubber anyway. But at the bottom of the table, Little and Remica fell short of pulling off the fated miracle that we were all so hoping that they could achieve, losing 2-1 to Burscough. Harry McVeigh did have them dreaming just that little bit more when he opened the scoring in the 32nd minute of the game. However, William Lawson equalised just prior to half-time. And Burscough also hit the bar just before going into half-time at 1-1, but then a minute from the end of normal time, Burscough won a penalty which was dispatched by Harry Johnson to break Remica hearts and consign them.
Was that game?
Yes, you were, and then consign them to a place in the North West Counties Division 1 next season. Truly heartbreaking for all concerned, Remica.
And I think for a lot of clubs in the North West Counties Premier Division as well. Talking to Jay Hawkes, the chairman of Burscough, and he said that if there was ever a time he wanted his club to lose, it was then. Because
he said that to me too. He was rooting for Remica just on the sly, wasn't
everybody
he?
likes Litherland, and of course Steve Scott as well.
Yeah, of course.
Very popular guy.
Yeah, incredibly popular. I mean, you can't give him enough credit for what he brought to the club in such a short space of time, and they nearly did it.
Is there a little clue into what might be happening though? Right now, there's no R being put against either Litherland or even City of Liverpool.
Oh, there is against City of Liverpool, isn't there? Yeah, no, there is.
Is there? Let's have a look. Oh yeah, they have. They put it up.
They have confirmed.
I do apologise. They've updated it.
Yes.
I just thought that. I think it was different. I think if a team had dropped out of the North West Counties, then one would have been reprieved.
Yeah.
The fact that Widnes dropped out of the North West County, Northern Premier League, is totally different.
Yeah, it's not quite the knock-on effect that we thought it would be, but in enormous commiserations to Steve and Litherland, although I'm sure that the rebuild will probably start pretty imminently, once they've all had their time to put their feet up for just a brief period of time, I think they'll be back.
Listen, it just shows you, doesn't it, in terms of getting it right, timing-wise. If you'd have been, a lot of people have said it, including Harry Middlehurst's dad, Neil, who was a friend of mine.
Yeah.
He said, you put Steve Scott in at the beginning of the season.
Oh, there's no way they dragged
absolutely
into this.
no way that they get relegated at all.
Not at all.
But, when people moan about the time of sacking managers...
Yeah, we've had that before.
Certainly bringing a manager in, when was the right time to bring Steve Scott in? Well, certainly, they're probably wishing they'd have done it a lot earlier now. But
I think they'll also be grateful that they've been able to get him as well, and also to be justified in bringing him in and reaping some benefits of it. They've fallen short this time, but the benefits clearly outweigh the negatives. Absolutely no doubt about it.
They go again next season.
Absolutely.
If they are in the Division 1 North, which would you expect them to drop down to their particular division, then all the very best to them. I think it's not as easy as it looks. We know the Northwest Counties.
Oh, it's ridiculous.
Any of those divisions there. Certainly, maybe the South is a little bit easier, but top 2, 3, 4 teams are just as good as anything in the Northwest Counties.
Of course they are.
Division 1 North, not taking anything away from them. Certainly not from Runcorn Town, who've been unbelievable.
Yeah.
And I think...
And Eccleshall as well.
Well, it'll be interesting to see, because there will be a playoff between... we'll talk about it later, but there will be a playoff between Runcorn and Nelson.
Yeah.
So they're playing in the Division 1 final.
It's the division champions, isn't it? Yeah. Anyway, in what could be their very last game, City of Liverpool signed off a thoroughly difficult and wretched season with a 3-0 home loss to Barnoldswick Town. 101 turned out at the community ground to see Sam Wrigley give Barlick the lead after 9 minutes, and then Gareth Hill with the double in the second half, consigning the Perps to a 37th defeat of the campaign. A very, very difficult season for all involved with the Perps, but now the attention kind of turns to whether they retain existence for next season.
Well, somebody did ask the question on social media, where will you be playing next season? They've not answered that question.
But they're not very active on the social medias anyway, unless it's relative to a game, to be honest. They put up tweets on, posts on X, if you like.
What can we make of this then? We're just making a huge assumption. I don't want to see City of Liverpool go out of business. People will turn around and say, well, hang on a minute, but you're going to be playing back at Bearscough, which has put them in a bit of a position. But
that was nothing to do with us.
No, it wasn't. But what I'm saying to you is people, would come to that assumption. So, given the fact that they don't answer any questions, given the fact that there was a lifeline offered to them at the beginning of the season, or prior to the start of the beginning of last season, then they had an opportunity to bring all the people in, fresh blood, and give themselves all the possibilities that they could. Listen, could be levelled at us because of the situation with Clay Brown and what have you. But
but we've got reasoning behind that, and we were very forthcoming about it.
Because somebody asked me the question the other day. It's funny this.
You keep getting asked why.
Well, I was walking around Asda the other day, and somebody stopped me and said, I bet you regret not joining forces with Clay Brown. With Skelmersdale Town. And I said, Skelmersdale Town? I said, who is Skelmersdale Town? And he turned around and he said, you know what I mean. And I said, oh, you mean Clay Brown? I said, well, listen, I'll just explain it one way only. I said, 3 seasons ago, when I first come back to Skem, the first person I went to see was Jay Howarth at Clay Brown, and I asked them to amalgamate with Skem. They weren't interested then, so why should I be interested now? And then I just walked away. I just got fed up. And I'm not going to name the person, save his embarrassment, but he's an idiot.
No. Well, never. Anyway, Division 1 North. So, champions Nelson finished off the season with a 4-0 win over MSB Woolton. 180 turning out at Little Wembley for that one. I would have thought be a little bit bigger, watch the Admirals crowning glory and make their...
It's not bad, but you know what, when you think about... I don't know what population Nelson's got. I mean, maybe you can do a little bit of research while I'm waffling on. But, considering it once upon a time was a Football League club as well.
Yeah.
All that history that football club's got. I love going there, by the way. I think it's, what's it called? The Little Daisy Arena, is it?
Little Wembley.
Little Wembley, is it? Is it Little Wembley? Yeah. Which is the Little Daisy then? Or the Daisy?
No, it's called Daisy Arena Little Wembley. It's the same.
All right, okay, yeah.
33,500 in Nelson.
So it's not much less than Skem.
No, actually. And this was a census of about 5 years ago, so it may have even been bigger then.
So it's about between sort of 7,000 and 8,000 less than Skem, maybe?
Give or take, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, bonkers.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense at all because, you win a championship like that and bearing in mind, did they get pipped last season, did they? I can't remember now. They got a reprieve. I can't remember which season they got.
They got a reprieve season before last.
Yeah.
And then they got taken over by the guy who used to run Clitheroe. Had a lot of money pumped into the club. We thought it was, they were going to kind of run away with it, but then
they got pipped in the playoffs last season.
They got beaten in the playoffs in the semi-finals. They lost in the semi-finals to Dresden. I think it was. Yeah.
In the semi-finals.
Yeah,
they wouldn't have been in the. Oh yeah, semi-finals.
Yeah, in the semi-finals. It was Dresden. So.
My word to Nelson is get out and support your team. Certainly next season when they're going to be in the Northern Premier.
Counties Division, Counties Prem.
North West Counties Prem.
Counties Prem. They're going to need all the support they can get. Yeah, absolutely.
Definitely. Well, listen, they've got back in financially, so they should be okay come what may. That's a discussion we'll have later on as well. The controversial corner.
They finished 9 points ahead of Dresden. So the playoffs have been confirmed as Dresden and MSB Woolton will have home games in the playoff semi-finals. Dresden will take on Squires Gate and MSB Woolton will welcome McGull. It was going to be a very tasty pair of semi-finals, although not necessarily the ones that we predicted at the start of the season or even predicted halfway through the season.
No, because to be fair, comes to our next point of conversation is Daisy Hill, because we did feel as though there might be a possibility that Daisy Hill would feature in those playoffs at some stage.
You certainly did, yeah.
And we thought Lee Hill might be the man to do it, but they had a bad start and they got rid of him. But even worse now, Liam Shepherd has officially left Daisy Hill. It's difficult to imagine how Daisy Hill's season would have panned out without his 30 goals, but the biggest question remains, as we know, the chairman, who's more concerned with delivering content. He replaced Lee Hill with Nicky Hunt at the beginning of September, and they haven't improved in terms of positions or even points from last term, a fact that Lee Hill was more than happy to point out on social media.
Well, yeah, of course. He's been vindicated, hasn't he? Everything he said about the club was right. And ironically enough, I was listening to your interview with Lee Hill when I had my crash on Sunday. That was what I was listening to.
That was the reason.
Yes, it was. Because you heard about...
And you had to get the blame.
Yeah, exactly. Lee Hill was talking about how creating content, and then all of a sudden, whoosh, I thought, yeah, we go.
Well, you and content. So listen, first of all, the noise that Aaron Hunt initially brought to the club quietened down very early on under his stewardship. Now, I know we both have different views about Aaron, but I think we can both agree on one thing. It's very much an experiment that didn't go quite as planned.
The ironic thing is he could still turn it around if he just invested more of his time into the club, but I just don't think he does. I think he thinks it's a plaything that he's just now done with.
Yeah. I was going to say... when we had Pascal Chimbonda at the football club, everybody said to me, "Oh, you brought him in as a media stunt," and it wasn't. It wasn't a publicity stunt at all. I mean, it turned out to be a bit of a palaver. But I think had Aaron Hunt been chairman of Skem at the time, I'm pretty sure he'd have done a really good job out of creating better content than he's done with Daisy Hill, which poses the question. Really, is when you're creating content, you've got to have bigger personalities at the helm. I don't think Nicky Hunt, being an Football League player. I don't think he's a big enough name. I didn't know a great deal. I knew the name, like, but it's not one that stands out and says...
Well, he was starting right back at Bolton when they were in the Premier League for a little while.
Yeah, but he wasn't someone... He wasn't like a Scholes or a Rooney.
No, of course not.
Yeah, but what I'm saying to you is, if you're going to pull content in, if you're going to attract people to your content, then you've got to have bigger names at the helm. And I don't think Lee Hill. I thought Lee Hill was actually good, because in terms of when they did their joint content together, Lee Hill came across really, really well. I liked him. I thought, this is great. He's bought into it, and then when you look back on it now, you think to yourself, it almost feels like he was hoodwinked into it, you know what I mean?
I think he was.
Railroaded into something he didn't.
Yeah, I mean, I think Lee thought that Aaron would be very much a saving grace for Daisy Hill. Yeah. And I can understand why. He's a local lad, he's got a big following, he's got a little bit of money behind him. There's a lot that he could do with Daisy Hill Football Club if he'd wanted to. But then, he's brought him in, and things are starting to turn a little bit more sour, and it quite sort of quickly turns out that Aaron Hunt's only really interested in Daisy Hill as a kind of a content and publicity point of view, and as a bit of a plaything, whereas Daisy Hill Football Club matters to Lee. It matters a lot to the people of Daisy Hill. The supporters. You'd imagine
it does with Aaron to a degree now. I mean, listen, for context purposes now, I actually quite like Aaron Hunt. I like listening to his content. He's done a series where he went out to, I think it was India, but he does that hotel review as well. I quite like his sort of dry sense of humour. So I just wanted to put it out there that this is not having a knock at Aaron Hunt at all, because if it works, I'd love to see it work, because I do think the power of social media now can build a club into something absolutely enormous. It's obviously evidently not quite worked right now, but I'd like to see it work, and I do appreciate him. I think he's a decent bloke. I think he's learning as he goes along, but has he learned quick enough? No.
Well, no, but...
And what does he do now?
What does he know about non-league football?
Listen, he openly admitted he knew nothing at all. He was playing... what was it? FIFA Manager?
Football Manager. Yeah, as Daisy Hill. And, that was a point at which Lee Hill contacted him. Yeah. As the real Daisy Hill manager, suggested that he come on board. But it's just an experiment that is sort of turning quite to pot at the minute. And if they're going to turn this around next season, Aaron Hunt's got to play more of a role. He just has to.
And they have to find somebody to replace Liam Shepherd.
And they have to find a striker who'll replace Liam Shepherd. I've no idea where he's gone. He's not made that public yet. I should imagine he'll end up in counties.
He said he wants to move higher up, didn't he?
Of course he does. I can see him wearing the yellow of Atherton LR. It's not far away from him at all. It could happen.
It's whether he's good enough for Atherton LR.
It's whether he's good enough to displace players like Tom Romano and Harvey Sample. Big names who've managed to adapt to a higher league version of football.
Do we know how old Liam is?
23, I think.
Yeah, it's not a bad age, is it?
No, it's not. I mean, still learning the game at this level. And will have a lot of learning opportunities wherever he ends up at the next level. I'm sure he will be picked up by a county's Premier League team. It'll just be a case of which one and, whether he starts off or not.
Listen, just to end that off, when I said I quite like Aaron Hunt, I do. I don't want people thinking that I've got this... No, seriously.
Okay.
I know you're looking at me funny there.
Okay.
I don't want people to think I've got a serious problem with him because he slagged my wife's sandwiches off. Do you remember what he said? I can't even find it anymore, but he turned around and he said, "Who puts coleslaw on sandwiches?"
Oh, what a knob. Bring your own
Yeah, but considering the spread that Rowena put on, you'd think he'd have paid a bit more respect towards it.
Yeah, exactly.
But, I do like him. And listen, he's more than welcome to come on the show. Not that he wants it. But if, if he wants to come on a real football podcast, we'll talk to him. So, yeah. Anyway, moving on to Division 1 South.
South. Yeah, so Division 1 South was all but sewn up as far as the table was concerned, really. I think the only real question was whether anybody was going to get the final playoff place ahead of Stafford Town. Sandbach and Asheville were both in the running for it. And they both played each other in the final game of the season. Sandbach United triumphed by 2-0. They leapfrogged Asheville into 6th place, but unfortunately fell short of another playoff crack. Of course, they were in there last season, but this season they've fallen to 6th. So we now know that Eccleshall and New Mills will have home games in the semi-finals. Eccleshall will play Stafford Town, and New Mills will play Stockport Georgians.
So, Eccleshall, who'd already sewn up the runners-up spot, they finished off the season with a 4-1 home win over Cheadle Heath Nomads. A crowd of just 70.
Damn.
It makes you wonder whether it's worth it sometimes. Listen, football is worth it, but when you're playing in front of that, when you put in a season like that, let's be honest about it, Runcorn have been untouchable, pretty much untouchable all season.
Yeah.
So for Eccleshall to be anywhere near, near them is
someone's got to finish second, but they were the only team to finish on 70 plus points apart from Runcorn.
Yeah.
Says plenty.
Yeah, 23 games won, 6 games lost, 5 games drawn. It's been a really good season for them. They're never going to compete with Runcorn Town.
No, of course they're not going to compete with Runcorn Town. I do think they are strong favourites to go all the way, though. I think with Liam Kelly at the helm, I believe that they can do it. And I think they must feel themselves that they're favourites to, I know that they've got a very embattled squad. They've got a lot of injuries, but they continue to, push the parameters of what is possible for a team at their level. They took Rushall Olympic to penalties in the Staffordshire Cup final the other week.
Listen, we're happy to see Stafford Town, though, in the playoff positions, aren't we? Lovely set up down there. They've come close, haven't they, last few seasons?
Yeah, so they were there or thereabouts last season. They, of course, they made it to the playoff final. They lost to Abbey Hulton. They also made it to the Macron Cup final, and they lost to Charnock Richard. And then they, I think they were just edged out the season as well by Winsford as well. So, they've had opportunities last season. This season has been a little bit more...
But at one stage, it didn't look as though they get in the playoffs, did it?
Well, no, they really struggled at one point in the season, and we did wonder whether they'd actually have enough to pull together to make it.
What if Telford, if Matty Boswell had stayed there and the plug hadn't been pulled? Oh, listen, is that the other news as well that I've not reported on yet? Didn't the chairman of Telford Town step down as well?
Have I got
that wrong?
No, I think I...
Well, while you're researching...
No, it's the chairman of Market Drayton.
Oh, Market Train, yeah, Market Train. But listen, just going back up to the playoffs there, New Mills, absolutely fantastic non-league.
What a wonderful season.
Historical, lovely little club. Lovely place to go. It's one of those proper non-league grounds that I was saying to you, if I'm going to take it anywhere next season, New Mills is definitely on the
alrighty.
Definitely on the cards.
I'll go for that.
Yeah.
Sounds great.
Yeah. So, where were we? Stockport Georgians, there they got the full place.
So the Cheshire Senior Cup final. So Runcorn Town played Crewe Alexandra at Gresty Road in front of a crowd of just shy of 589. They were 2-0 down at half-time. They came back and scored 2 goals to get themselves back on level terms, but Crewe came back a little bit of the stronger in the second halves and ended up scoring a further 3 to win by 5-2. From what I'm hearing from the Crew supporters, that scoreline flatters them. And actually, they ran away with it only in the last 20 minutes or so, but otherwise Runcorn had given them a really good game. Town's season is far from over. They've got 2 cup finals still to play for. They play Nelson in the Division 1 Cup final this coming Saturday, and that's followed up the following Thursday by the final of the Edward Case Cup.
And you know what?
They play Darwin.
If we hadn't been playing this weekend, I'd love to have watched Runcorn versus Nelson.
Yeah, that would have been a clash of the Titans, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
but duty calls with Scam. Never mind.
Yeah. So moving on to the Derbyshire Cup final, in a much closer final, it has to be said. Glossop North End lost on penalties against Ilkeston Town in front of a whopping crowd of 2,354. The game finished 2-2, but Ilkeston won 3-1 on penalties. What a big crowd it is.
That's an amazing crowd. I don't think it was on a Saturday, was it? I think it was a midweek game, which was all the more ridiculous. I think it was on. I think it was on. It was on Thursday.
It was Tuesday night.
It was a Tuesday night. There you go.
Yeah,
so on Tuesday night. Ethan.
Non-league football's relatively poorly supported on a
midweek.
Yeah, so that's a fantastic.
That is an excellent turnout at Pride Park to see a Derbyshire a county senior cup final. That's really, really good. So fair play to all the fans who turned out at Pride Park for that one, and congratulations to Ilkeston. Commiserations to Glossop North End. You've had a very tricky start, but a very fine end to the season, and runners up in a cup final as well. That's not to be looked down your nose at. Very well done.
This part of me feels as though Richie Brodie should have been a part of that still. But
yeah, I feel like he should have done as well. But yeah, he'll be back somewhere in management soon, without single doubt. Now,
moving on to Marine.
Marine finish. They will finish in 12th position, regardless of what happens this weekend. Their season's kind of curtailed slightly. They had an excellent run in the FA Trophy, got to the semi-finals, but they've lost their last 3 games. So it means that what little of their season is left will kind of be, more eroded away with a bit of a whimper, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think on that basis, they'll be happy with the season overall, and if they can get a win at Spennymoor Town on Saturday, it won't be a bad way to finish the season.
No, I don't think it will. So I'm just looking at their results recently. So
listen, if you can get a win at Spennymoor Town on Saturday, it will round off what has been a fairly good season for them.
It will be a decent season for them. Bobby Grant's brought some really good stability to the club. I don't think there was any question that they were going to be in the relegation zone, but I think at one point maybe the fans were dreaming of the playoffs, and they were certainly dreaming of a trip out at Wembley. Unfortunately, they fell short against Wealdstone, but even after that little heroics, the season's kind of dropped away a little bit for them. Disappointing results against Hereford, Merthyr Alfreton, and Hereford again.
Hereford had more to play for because they want to get out of that relegation spot, don't they? I think they're just above it now, going into the final game. I think
they have done enough. With those 2 wins against Marine, it now puts them on 51.
How many going down for? Is it 4?
It is 4, yeah. So they are they're level on points with Curzon Ashton and Kings Lynn Town. Curzon Ashton currently in the relegation spots as well, but with a couple of games left between them. No, in fact, just 1 game, isn't it, between them? Pardon me. It could go any which way, or I think there's still 5 teams that are still in with a shout of being relegated here out of those 2 final playoffs, 2 final spots. Leamington already down, and Peterborough Sports also confirmed relegated a few
Well, we'll
weeks
look at
ago.
the demise of Leicester, and we'll mention Leicester at the end of the programme, or in the controversial issues, but pretty much with Hereford, really. Hereford had come from the Football League and dropped potentially now down to step 4 Will it be step 4
it
in the
will be.
National League system?
Something like that. They will be in the National League system now.
Well, no, they are in the National League system
sorry,
now.
pardon me.
They'll
Into
drop
the
even
regionals.
further down,
Yeah, they'll drop into the southern,
regional division.
Yeah, whatever the equivalent of the Northern Premier League is at that level. Yeah, they have just announced plans to amend the pitch with former Hereford player Jared Bowen being a pivotal benefactor in that development. Hopefully, good things will come for the Bulls.
So what they go just for a grass pitch? Yeah, he's not going to put out £1 million, is he?
I don't know. He probably earns that in a month. Okay, no, he doesn't. He probably earns that in about 2 months. But it'll be interesting to see whether
it's just going to be a grass pitch, isn't it?
It may very well be. Anyway, Southport currently in 15th place, with the potential to move up to 13th, just behind Marine. Equally, a defeat could see them move down a few places. Drop as far as 16th, where Chorley are. The season again has tailed off considerably. They've lost their last 3 games as well, and a tough game. Final game of the season at Hague Avenue against AFC Telford this weekend. But again, a bit like Bobby Grant, Neil Dans has brought some real stability to Port. Pulled them away from any relegation scraps. Has now got a decent basis for which to build on for next season.
Yeah, because it didn't look good for them at one stage, did it? If there was a few sort of moments where you thought, well, they keep dropping back in there and you're thinking to yourself they could be relegated. Speaking to people that have watched them more closely and people that know Southport, they said, listen, they've got a relatively young squad, but they brought a few more experienced heads in. I think everything about the club now, the new owners, the way that they're communicating with the community. It's much more. They made huge headway with the local community.
They've built a lot of bridges, haven't they?
Yeah, their average attendance has gone up. I don't know by how much, but I think it's by a few hundred probably.
Yeah. So are they pushing about 1,500?
I think they're getting around about that 1,500 points, aren't they? If you take out the big games, you know what I mean, because the big games sort of give you a false economy. But
it's a false swell, isn't it?
I think even on a Tuesday night, I think they were getting gates of around about 1,500 as well.
That's really good.
Back in the day, they were struggling to get 600-700.
Really?
Yeah. God. So they're doing a really good job down there.
They certainly are.
Well, so listen, we'll move on to Prescott Cables.
Wow.
Cables have given themselves half a chance of avoiding the drop after beating Gainsborough Trinity 2-1 away on Saturday. And let's just look at that. That means that they dropped out of the top 5, didn't they? Were they just on the verges of the top 5?
Let's have a look.
They would have been, they're on 59 points. They would have been above Stockton Town had they won, but they didn't manage to do that. Listen, they've given themselves a great chance anyway, Prescott.
I don't know whether it's a stay of execution at the minute. 4 teams getting relegated from this division. We know that Stockbridge Park Steels are going down. That was confirmed at the weekend. Morpeth Town and Prescott Cables on 39 points. Whitby Town on 42. And then Workington on 43. So technically, Workington, are they safe? Yeah, it's just one more game of the season. So Workington are, by all account, are absolutely safe. It's just a final shootout between Cables and Town to see who goes down. Pardon me very much. I think it's 3 clubs that go down and not 4. Cables are at home. They're at home to Bamber Bridge this weekend. In with a shout of beating Bamber Bridge, I think, who a mid-table team don't have anything more to play for, can't finish any higher than 10th, currently 11th, whereas Cables have an awful lot of fighting to do. They'll also have to rely on Cleethorpes Town beating Whitby on Saturday. So that is, I wouldn't know whether that's an optimism or not, but Cleethorpes Town currently 9th. Against Whitby Town, who are 18th. Just a short trip up the coastline from Cleethorpes to go and visit the guys at Whitby, and if you're a Prescott Cables fan, do the job.
Yeah, good luck to Steve Daly and, of course, to Prescott Cables.
Yeah, very much
wish them the very best. Don't want them to go down if they can avoid it. But they've got a good chance. They're at home. I know they're relying on other results, but they're at home, and that should give them enough confidence to at least win that game. If they do their bit, then hopefully things will go in their favour.
Yeah, exactly. But regardless of what happens, I mean, we've got to give Steve Daly credit for taking this relegation battle to the very final day, because I think at one point it looked all but certain, and I didn't anticipate them beating Trinity. I really didn't.
No, neither of us did really. But you know what, they managed to do it, and they're getting themselves a fighting chance. So good luck. So listen, we'll sort of sum up Bootle, Lower Bracket, and Vauxhall Motors all in one. So they're the three teams fighting it out for the final playoff spot. It's in Breck's hands. If they beat Sheffield Town on Saturday, they'll finish fifth. Bootle host Mossley in their final game, and if Breck lose, it will be them in the playoffs. Vauxhall Motors will be relying on both to lose, and with the easiest of the fixtures against Stafford Rangers and a 2-goal advantage, they could sneak it at the death.
Yeah, they could.
What do you think?
As you say, all in Breck's hands. Breck also being excuse me, if Breck are at home for this game as well, so it gives them all the opportunity in the world. Shivnal, had a decent enough season, finishing in 12th, pretty much. So not an awful lot to play for, but Breck have a last opportunity to just apply the gas and just see it over the line. Just see it over the line. That's all you need to do. If a draw kind of takes it out of their hands, really. Again, they're relying on Mossley and Stafford to kind of do them favours. So just win the game, lads. That's all you need to do. Just win the game.
Yeah, let's not get a soft spot for all three teams, to be fair. I mean, we want to watch Bootle against Clitheroe. They look like a decent outfit. They certainly don't look as though they'd be out of place in the higher division. There's no doubt about that. But they're all three northwestern teams, aren't they? And it's difficult to... we sort of have a vested interest in Lower Breck, of course.
It's ironic because the league is called the Northern Premier League West, but I get where you're coming from. Geographically speaking, they are all in kind of the Liverpool area. Yeah. So they are kind of neighbours to us. For right now, at least. But for me, I still think Breck will get the job done. And I think it does mean, unfortunately, Bootle and Motors will miss out on that. But again, we've just kind of got to give credit to Gary Moore and his troops for the job that they've done this season. We thought, they might win the league. That's fallen away now as more experienced teams have kind of come in and stamped their authority. But even so, we've got two teams contesting promotion, Bury and Breck, who weren't in that league last season. They were the league below. So
it's fair to say at one stage, really, the way Lower Breck were flying, that Bootle and Vauxhall really weren't in the equation, were they, at one stage?
No, they weren't.
Well, they were sort of in the equation, but then you're probably looking at the likes of Stalybridge, Celtic and Runcorn Linnets finishing below Lower Breck, which hasn't happened, as we know.
No.
But it all to play for there at the end of the day.
Most certainly, yeah.
But good luck. Good luck to all. May the best team win. Let's move on to Bury. It's a playoff almost between Bury and Avro to win the title. Bury are at the top with a 2-point advantage. Bury have got a difficult away game to Atherton Collieries, but if they win, it's all theirs. Avro, on the other hand, have the easiest of the fixtures as they host bottom club Darlaston Town. If Bury lose and Avro draw, it's enough. It won't be enough as Bury have a much superior goal difference. So listen, they have to win. Bury have to win, and
ideally Bury have to win. The gap is 2 points, but even if Bury draw and Avro win, and both teams finish on an 88, Avro still have to win by 8 goals. in order to kind of see that over the line. It's not the impossible because Darlaston, as we know, have had a pretty wretched end to the season, but the title charge is very much in Bury's hands. They had a brilliant turnout in their last game. I think it was just over 7,000. I think went to watch them.
It was a fantastic
was it who was it that they played against? Is it Witten? It was Witten. Yes, it was. Yeah, over 7,000.
Controversial Witten.
Turning out at Gig Lane to see them there. But yeah, if Bury win or draw, it's almost certain that they'll take the league title.
Yeah, and listen, I think we all want it to happen. Bury need to be playing on the biggest stage. It's great for the teams that are in and around Bury at the moment because they're boosted by their average gates. With we know that the likes of Clitheroe, we went to watch the other week, they had a capacity attendance when they played Bury.
Yes, they did.
Clubs are going to miss that. There's absolutely no doubt about that. There'll be some clubs thinking, no, listen, we want you to stay where you are because you're gonna help us financially next season.
Yeah.
But I think we're all pretty much saying, listen, given the size of the club. Yeah. The amount of finances that are in there, you don't want to keep fighting against them every season because
not really.
Eventually there's only going to be one winner in a slugfest like that. The other thing, of course, is that what was I going to say? I forgot what I was going to say. But let's move on to Runcorn Linnets. Third and fourth place, Stonybridge Celtic and Runcorn Linnets could switch places depending on their results. Celtic would have to lose at home to Chasetown and Linnets would have to win away to Newcastle Town, but either way both teams are going to be contesting in the playoffs.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this is the first time that Linnets in recent memory that Linnets have got as high and as far as what they have done. So this is a brilliant achievement for them regardless. I think what's important here is is contesting a semi-final at home. So at the minute, with Staley Celtic being in third, they occupy the home leg of the playoffs, whereas Linnets would have to visit Staley in order to navigate a place through to the playoff final. If it was reversed, obviously that would play more into the Linnets' hands. But yeah, difficult fixtures for both really. Chasetown currently sitting in 8th. So although Staley Celtic had that brilliant 15-match unbeaten run that came to an end very recently, Chasetown still proving mean opposition in their way. Similarly, the Linnets are playing Newcastle Town, who are 14th. So again, not an awful lot more to play, but pride. But nonetheless, at this stage of the season, you just want to get the job done with as minimal fuss and difficulty as possible.
I've just remembered what I was going to say.
Okay.
I was saying Bury last season, they didn't choke at the final hurdle, did they?
No, they didn't. They held off the charge of Lower Breck, and saw it over the line against.
So they've got that
Burstow.
experience of getting across that finishing line. That experience means so much. It's invaluable.
Some of them do. Obviously, the team that contested the county's Premier final 12 months ago against Burstow
is considerably different now. Yeah.
It's an awful lot different. But nonetheless, there will be...
it's in that ethos now, isn't it?
I suppose it is in that ethos. It's going to have to be. So that's kind of the permutations for Northern Premier League West. Clitheroe lost away to Stafford Rangers 2-1 at the weekend. They finished their campaign at home to Kidsgrove Athletic. Domestically speaking, it's been a disappointing campaign for Clitheroe. The highlight of their season was, of course, the FA Trophy. I think they got to the 5th round of that. What we do know is that they have struggled financially over the last couple of seasons. It was made plain to the wider footballing world when Carl Garner did a sit-down interview and was very candid and open about it. This has obviously played a big part in where they're likely to finish, which is around about 15th place. Can't finish any lower than 15th, but finishing a place higher if they win. And the team above them, Newcastle Town, lose, so they'll be hoping from a bit of a favour from the Linnets as well, just to make their position in the final league table a little bit more dignified.
Question:
Yes.
Do you think Sean McConville will stay? And do you think they'll stick or twist? I think they'll stick myself.
I think they'll stick. I don't know whether they can afford to twist at this point. I think McConville's just started to shape a decent squad in there. There's certainly a lot of players in there who, are decent and, could make a real go out of being Northern Prem players.
But we did speak to somebody at Clitheroe that wasn't completely sort of bought into it.
About McConville?
Yeah. And he said quite a lot of supporters felt the same.
Really? Even so, I think he needs... I mean, this is his first full season, isn't it, in management? 14th and a reasonable run in the cup.
Yeah.
You want to have more than that, but again, like, what's he going to do with no budget? What can he do?
That's why I'm saying, never mind whether they stick or twist. Does he stick or twist? Does he?
I don't know where he thinks he can go that makes him a... Because he's...
I think just off the back of that FA Trophy run to a degree, beating York, it give him some sort of gravitas with a few clubs in and around there.
Yeah.
Don't forget that if you look at the league there now, there's some really, really big clubs within that division. Much bigger than Clitheroe. And so, I mean, he could probably, if there's one or two jobs become available there.
Potentially.
Yeah.
Potentially, yeah. I'm still not sold on it, really. I think he needs another season.
I just wonder whether bringing a Scouser back to Scousland somewhere, will favour him.
Really depends on
his little black book as well.
It really depends on what kind of clubs are going to be open to that, and whether they're going to be jettisoning their managers in the off season.
Listen, I think he's got potential to be a great manager. There's absolutely no doubt.
Yeah, of course, he's just very.
We know he's a little bit, inexperienced at the moment, but he's picked up an awful lot of experience in the last couple of seasons.
Yeah,
whether he's been number 2 or at the top spot.
Yeah, get it, but I think he needs to do more with Clitheroe. I think he just does. Unfortunately, that's my view on it.
Yeah, fair enough.
Just before we go to controversial corner, I'd like to give a shout out to Carl Woodward. Now, Carl is the outgoing commercial manager of Winsford United FC. So Carl was one of the people who I reached out to when I first took on a bit more responsibility within the commercial aspect of it. He gave me a lot of his time talking me through how to actually tap into the commercial side of football within the local community, and how best to build kind of solid relationships with local businesses in order to make the club more financially sustainable. Carl sustained quite a serious bicycle injury last year, and has now made the decision to step aside as the commercial manager at Winsford, who just fell short of a playoff final in the Midland Premier League. They lost to 1874 Northwich. But anyway, Carl was part of that team at Winsford that went through the county's Division 1 South last season, and then into the Midland League with such success, and I think he's been a key staple of why that club has been so successful in the last few years. He now looks forward to returning to the Barton Stadium as a fan, but from a personal point of view, with the amount of help he gave me, I just want to say thank you very, very much, Carl, and we wish you all the very best in whatever you decide to do next.
Yeah. Controversial corner. So Ramsbottom football listeners, a few here really, but Ramsgate. Did I say Ramsbottom?
You did.
I did. Oh, no. I meant Ramsgate FC. So Ramsgate FC will begin the process of appointing a new first team manager following the sacking of Lee Martin. One of the reasons given for his departure was that he underspent, albeit his remit was to be as simple as keeping them up in the Isthmian League. They're currently in 10th place, so he actually done that part of the bargain. He achieved that,
yeah.
But they sacked him for underspending. One, it's a really bizarre statement for a football club to make about underspending. But two, I can understand it. I mean, you probably don't, but I can understand it. And I'll tell you why in a minute.
I think it is absolutely ridiculous, and I'm going to tell you why. If all he had to do was keep them in the Isthmian Premier League, he's done his job. He's done it well. It's not even that they've survived by the skin of their teeth. They're in 10th place. They're not even thinking about relegation at this point. And I think Lee's given them the best basis on which to continually survive without blowing his entire budget on it. Give him this season to start blowing his budget on trying to get them into the playoffs and start building a sustainable but successful Ramsgate FC. How on earth can you see anything other than what the hell?
Right. So from a chairman's perspective, the remit was to keep them in that division.
He did it.
He did it, yeah. Fair enough. But there comes a point during the season where a manager and a chairman, the football club, they evaluate what's gone on so far. And if they see that he's done a reasonably good job, but he could have done better if he'd have spent more on better players, then you've got to question whether he's good enough to take them higher up into another division. Do you not understand where I'm coming from?
Yes, I understand where you're coming from. I think it's a bit silly, really.
But it isn't, is it? Because that's what the football... We know it's a results-driven business, and yes, he managed to keep them in the division. There's absolutely no doubt about that. But if you could have performed better by utilising the tools that the board of directors have given you, and maybe even, we don't know because it's not being mentioned, but maybe the powers that be have said to him, listen, there's more money in the pot here, you can spend it, and he's not done it.
He's just kept Ramsgate as being sustainable.
Well, they're saying we are sustainable because we've got some money left in the bank account.
How many teams have said this and then said, "Oh, going to have to cut the budget"?
Listen, there's nothing wrong with good housekeeping. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that at all in terms of budgets financially. It's music to a chairman's ear when you can perform well on a relatively sort of decent budget without overspending. But I suppose the question has to be asked is how much further could they have gone if he'd have spent the money that he had?
Why is he in a
better
rush?
Players?
Why is he in a rush? Could they have not waited until next season to start the assault on the playoffs?
Well, I'll give you another sort of option, if you like, in terms of, we've seen it with the likes of Prescott Cables and other clubs where just before Christmas they cut the budget because they know that they're not going to go down, but they know they're not going to go up either.
I mean, Prescott Cables have jumped the gun a little bit there.
That makes sense. If that was the reasoning behind it, if that's what they've done, they've cut the cloth and said, listen, we'll go for it again next season. This doesn't appear to be a case of that. This appears to be the case of we could have done much better, but you didn't utilise the tools that we've given. Listen, us as chairman and directors of football, we're at we're up for criticism all the time. If we don't provide the management team with the tools that they need to be successful, then people ask questions of us and say, well, why are you not doing this? Why not giving him more money? When the money's there. And surely if you can criticise, supporters can criticise the chairman and directors of a football club when they're not spending enough money, then surely you can criticise the manager because he's underspending. I know it seems bizarre, and under most circumstances it might be. I'm just saying, on this particular occasion, the board of directors, the chairman, whoever's made the decision, might have made a decent decision because they couldn't see how he's going to progress that football club. But I understand it as well. So
I'm not thrilled by this.
No,
I'm sure
a lot of people won't make any sense of it at all. I have to be perfectly honest with you, though. I think the press release by Ramsgate didn't do anybody any favours at all there. I don't think they didn't have to mention the fact that he'd underspent.
There's no need for that. All it done is just given them cause to be criticised more because, as you say, like, and a lot of people's first
it's a way of it, but it's a way of deflecting criticism as well, isn't it? By saying, listen, you underspent, so that's the reason why you've gone.
Yes, but how many people would look at underspending as a reason to sack somebody? Because, like, I've had that thought process. Because, like, more people are like me than like you. They don't see, like, the chairman's side of how a budget should be spent and operated with.
Well, so when we were in the National League system and we're paying expenses, we have a choice to make. We can either spend that on the spine of the team, the more experienced players, or we can split it equally amongst everyone so that even the younger players that are less experienced don't get paid as much. But you equally, then the argument is if you just spend it on the backbone of the team, you've got more of a chance. And then those players that are younger and less experienced, once they step up a bit and they start playing better football and they look as though they're going to blend well with the football team, that's when you start talking about increasing their wages or expenses, whatever you want to call it. Well, listen, but we'll come to expenses pretty soon. But let's move on to FC United again. Listen, we've mentioned FC United.
We have
on
numerous
recently. Occasions. So, well, first of all, we know the story of the demise of the Northern Premier League chairman, Mark Harris.
I mean, let's. He's not died. Okay, the demise of Northern Premier League. That sounds like he's been killed. He hasn't. Okay,
no, demise is different to being
yes,
killed.
no, it's not.
It is.
If something demises, or if something is demised.
When he has demise, he's not dead.
No, he's not died.
Yeah, but it doesn't. Demise doesn't say he's dead.
Yes, it does.
Yeah,
it does. If somebody says the demise of, it just means they've killed. How many times have we seen, the demise of Rochdale FC, the demise of Hereford FC, the demise of Widnes?
Well, you're being picky now, but listen, if we go back earlier on in the show where you made a huge blooper and you still wouldn't known it.
You didn't make any bloopers at all.
Yeah, icing on the cherry.
No. Right. The icing does go on fucking cherry.
No, it goes on the cake.
No, it doesn't. It
goes on the cake.
It goes on the cherry that's on the cake. All right, so you've got the cake, you've got the cherry, then you've got the icing.
You're not going to convince me of that. I'll tell you what, I was almost doubting myself then anyway.
And so you should. So
anyway, listen, let's not call it the demise then. Let's talk about the cherry that fell off the Northern Premier League sort of hierarchy was Mark Harris. We know the reasons behind it because of the alleged
alleged email that was sent to a supporter who then cried victim. Anyway, it's really important to point out that Mark Harris has been removed from post pending an internal and full investigation.
It doesn't say that, does it?
Yes, it does.
Does it?
Yes, it does.
I don't see that.
I'll bring it up.
It said he's been dismissed.
Yeah, pending an investigation.
I don't think you dismiss someone. You suspend them, don't you? You don't dismiss them.
Well, you can put them on gardening
leave.
It's
the importance in words, isn't it?
Well, yes, quite.
But listen, they're not all getting it right. Anyway, listen, that game got played in the end, didn't it? And they drew 1-1. On Tuesday night.
Fucking pointless after all that. The board can confirm that Chairman Mark Harris has been relieved of his duties with immediate effect, pending a full disciplinary investigation.
Relieved?
Gardening duty.
I think you'd have said suspended.
Gardening leave. That's what
anyway, listen,
gardening leave. Anyway,
the point I was going to make anyway was that listen, we know that the game had been called. I got told it was 4 times. Somebody else said it was 6.
I think it was 4.
I thought it was 4. Anyway, whatever happened, it was called off an incredible amount of times.
Yes, it was.
Leading to the decision by the league to hold the fixture at a neutral venue, much to the disgust of FC United supporter Alan Duckfield, who sent an email to the league, as we know. He didn't get the response he was expecting, as once again we already know. And this, of course, led to Mark's dismissal last Friday. But the FA have reversed the decision on where to play the game. So the game, like I say, got played on Tuesday at FC United at Broadhurst Park. So
yes, indeed.
All very well and good. But then somebody pops up and talks about the story. First of all, I said that we've lost a great servant if he's fully suspended and there's no way back for Mark Harris, then it's going to be such a shame because he's been a great ambassador for the Northern Premier League.
For about 20 years, yeah.
He's let himself down. But listen, I was reading an article then by Jonathan Allsopp who asked the question, is the Premier League fit for purpose?
Northern Premier League.
Yeah, the Northern Premier League. What did I say?
Premier League.
Northern Premier League. Is it fit for purpose? He is a FCUM sort of co-owner and supporter who raises several questions about the powers that be, one of which is this. When it comes to financial fair play, the FC United board is led to believe, based on conversations with directors and players across the league, that there are clubs in the Northern Premier League where players are being paid in ways that are designed to avoid proper taxation and regulatory oversight, I can't even say the word, whether that is through cash payments, inflated or undeclared expenses or other forms of disguised income. The effect is the same. It creates an uneven playing field. So we suggest that the laws are only being applied selectively. Now, we've spoken about alleged wage payments in the Northwest Counties Premier League previously on the show. Without really thinking about the legitimacy. So, does this debate open a whole new can of worms right across the National League system?
Yes.
You're not going to leave me hanging on that one.
I answered your question. Well, I don't really know where to start with this one because, like I say, it's an awful lot to unpick. Jonathan
is an author in his own right as well. I think he wrote a book about FC United of Manchester as well. So he's obviously a big FC United supporter. There is this consensus of opinion amongst certain quarters that FC United have been unfairly treated during their sort of, from inception right up to where they are now. I think people have largely forgotten or forgiven it now because they've actually got roots in Manchester. They've got their own stadium. Surely it comes to a point where you've got to forget how it was formed. The reasons behind the conception.
I don't even know, because half of the teams that we sort of know of, like we know full well that AFC Liverpool and City of Liverpool were both formed as breakaways of original institutions within not football.
Quite as similar to what FC United were, because they came with a really huge fan base, and we've had this conversation before. I think the feeling was at the time that they run roughshod over the minions of the league. So they started off at Northwest Counties. They wanted to start at the Northern Premier League.
Yeah.
They were given the opportunity to start at the Northwest Counties purely based on the amount of people that would be following their support. So it was a safety issue amongst everything else. But it was really a good thing for the Northwest Counties at the time because it promoted the Northwest Counties, which is a very well run and organised league.
Certainly is.
Know. So it brought that them into the spotlight a little bit, but also gave the opportunity for teams that had never seen gates of those sizes before to make
to have their slice of the pie.
Yeah, to really do well financially at least once a season, and if they got them in the cup, then twice a season. So at the time, I think a lot of clubs that were competing at the top were worried because they could never compete in terms of budget with FC United, and that was the worry. It certainly was with me in my first tenure as chairman of Scum United Football Club. When they moved up into the Northern Premier League, we had a battle on our hands, but we had a battle on our hands with Chester, AFC Halifax, AFC Fylde. The list was endless, and even I was brainwashed into thinking, this is not, we shouldn't have to compete against these. They shouldn't be parachuted into our leagues. This shouldn't be happening. But it was different with FC United. They started off at the Northwest Counties and they moved all the way up, and they're doing relatively well now. They're only going to make the playoffs now,
but they're going to get a home fixture,
and they're going to get a home fixture. So listen, the question is, does it open a whole can of worms right across the National League system? I think it does, because we've talked about players being on £350 a week in the Northwest Counties Division 1 North.
Yeah, we have.
And when those kind of figures are bandied about, they're more than just reasonable expenses, aren't they?
Yeah, they are.
And when you look at maybe let's say a club that's doing really, really well, like Nelson, for instance, they won the league, and their final game of the season's 180. If, for argument's sake, they were paying players, and I don't know what they're paying their players, but if they were paying them £350 a week, there's no justifiable way of claiming those expenses through because of the size of your gate. You haven't got enough money to back that up and pay that. So you've got to have somebody with deep pockets.
Yeah.
Which we believe likes of Nelson have. And listen, I'm not using Nelson as an example because we're talking about them, because we're not.
No. We're just putting this on as
we're talking about other clubs, to be fair.
Yeah, but we're talking about
a team that's finished at the top, but with a relatively small fan base. People are asking questions about how do you justify paying expenses, considerable expenses, and acquiring the best players in that league when you've got paltry gates. And even the question is whether you've got an owner that's got deep enough pockets. How are they funding that? And I think that's what the can of worms that's been opened now. Because you can feasibly say that they're on £80 a week, and it's expenses. They're getting travelling expenses. They're getting kit allowances, they're getting a food allowance, and that could make up their £80 a week, depending on from where they're travelling from. You could probably bump that up if it was further afield, clothing allowance, whatever it is. But if you're going over, and we know, because the figures are bandied about, if you're going up to £350...
Where the hell is that money coming from?
Where's the other £275 coming from? It's not coming from the football club, it's coming from somebody else. And this is where the balance, this is what I assume Jonathan is suggesting. I tried to add him to Twitter because I'd like to get him on the show, and maybe he could discuss that and help us. It was a really big article that he's written, so if you ever get the chance to read it, then I suggest you do.
I tried,
but I think he didn't have enough time. It did go on a little bit, but I feel as though it was a deliberate way of trying to sabotage the Northern Premier League and suggest, even though the Northern Premier League wasn't mentioned directly, it was just saying that basically
this is what the finances are being done.
Yeah, that he was suggesting that the laws were only applied selectively, but if you don't know, you can only
speculate. Really.
If people speculate that you're on £350 a week, if you can't find that they're on £350 a week, you have to accept that they're only on £80.
Yeah.
And until you can find out and do an audit of everybody that's involved in that football club to find out where it's...
Let's not forget that the counties is run purely by volunteers. Near enough, isn't it? So where on earth are they going to find the time to carry out a financial audit? And until all funding moves to digital and a cashless society, you are never going to properly police this as much as what your suspicions believe you needs to be done.
Anyway, listen, that's probably opened up a debate in itself, so hopefully somebody will respond to that and maybe come on the show. But listen, Joe Duckworth.
So Joe Duckworth is the former captain and striker of Witton Albion. The news came about from Witton Albion that Joe's contract had been terminated by mutual consent. Joe then issued a statement of his own on social media explaining why. He bravely admitted to having a gambling addiction that has made it difficult for him to function. As a result, he has decided to take time away from football and concentrate on rehabilitation and beating his addiction. Now, this is one of very, very few news stories at this level where a player has openly admitted to having some kind of difficulty or addiction that needs putting ahead of football as a priority.
We've got it at a higher level, haven't we, with Paul Merson and people like that?
Yes, Paul Merson's been kind of a major proponent of gambling, and losing a lot of money because of it. But for Joe, I think his statement is whilst not quite as all-capturing as what Paul Merson's is, it still shows a huge degree of bravery and self reflection to a point where he's admitted that he has got a difficulty that needs prioritising over football.
Admitting it is the most difficult part of it. So the first process of it, he's got really right, and I've wanted to discuss gambling addictions, pardon me, within football for a considerable amount of time, and I'd love to get Joe or someone like Joe on the show to explain how people have got involved in gambling addictions in the first place. I know from experience, when I used to go on some of the bigger away games and we used to be coming back on the coach, most of the players at the back of the coach either be swigging large amounts of lager off, or they were certainly playing chase the ace and losing the wages or even the clothes. That happened on a regular basis, so we know that there's a culture within football for betting, even in terms of you see players come together and say, listen, I'm backing such and such a person in a horse race, or a horse in a particular race. So we know it goes on, and there's a big culture of gambling within sporting, the sporting fraternity. I don't think it's as bad now. I certainly don't see it as bad now with these younger guys. No. I don't know how old Joe is. Sorry, I've got a terrible cough now. Just take a drink.
I don't know how old he is, to be fair. I'm
not sure. I'm suggesting he maybe a little bit more sort of in his mid to late 20s, possibly. A bit more
long in the tooth to look himself in the mirror and say, yeah, I've got a bit of an issue.
Yeah, listen, I should have done my homework then, found out exactly how old he is. But I think more of the current younger people, more sort of got the noses into the phones and looking at social media. I think old school, it's too easy to go on a betting app and just put money.
Yeah.
Put money on your credit card.
Yeah.
Although I believe that's stopped now. You can't. So if you're gambling on an app now, you can't use a credit card to.
No, it has to be a debit.
It has to be a debit card.
Yeah, with your own.
I'm terribly sorry. I got a bit of a cough here, but
so you're going to need a cough cover in a minute, aren't you?
Yeah. So, like I say, I don't know at what particular age he is and where it started, but it would be really interesting to get somebody on the show to explain how it started for them and how we can help people within the football culture to stop that from happening. I mean, just stop gambling on team coaches. Yeah.
I mean, that would have been a start kind of back in the day, but it depends on how much of it is being done openly or how much of it is being done kind of in secret. I suspect you
can go into self-exile, so you can, if you feel as though you've got a gambling problem going on, you can ban yourself from betting. Betting right across the UK board, if you like. So then you can't bet with anyone, so it doesn't matter whether it's Ladbrokes or
William Hill,
Bet365, William Hill, reel them all off, Fred Dunn, you name it. You can tell I've got a gambling issue, but no, listen, I've been in a situation myself where I could have gone the wrong way with gambling, so that's why this is a particular subject that is close to heart, and I would like to. I think we've got a responsibility at football clubs to help. I think certainly at the higher echelons of football, because of what's happened with Paul Merson and people like that, I think they get greater help at football clubs.
Yeah.
Who was the other fella that blew all his money? He used to play for Liverpool, I think, didn't he?
Was it Harry Kewell?
No, I don't think it was. But listen, he might have done, but there was somebody else that actually got completely cleared out, didn't he, because of his gambling habits. There's been a lot of Premier League footballers that have gone down the same line. And what they used to say
Dominic Matteo, yeah.
What they used to say is that they have an awful lot of time in between training. It takes you back to Tyson Fury, really, doesn't it? That how do you fill your moments where you don't get those highs? So you're not training, you're not playing football, and maybe you've got an international break and you're not in the English setup, the Wales, you're not being called up. You've got more time on your hands. Yeah, you're still training with your club, but you've got your afternoons off. You could be doing the school run, I don't know. But, as Tyson Fury says, the one thing that keeps him almost sort of on the straight and narrow is having that, what would you call it now? That focus on it, on taking his kid. There's another word for it, but taking his kids to school, backwards and forwards to school. That gives him something to get up to do. Beyond that, he becomes bored and fidgety and wants to do. I don't think he's got a gambling issue. That might come out once, at some stage. But certainly, a lot of these players that have got an awful lot of time on their hands, you can understand there. The likes of Georgie Best and Paul Gascoigne went to drinking, and some people went to drugs and things like that. You can understand they've got huge amounts of money to spend and nothing to do.
Yeah, it's their responsibility to find something to do.
It is, but I think it's getting better now. But I think at non-league level, we just take it for granted. We don't really delve into the personal lives of our players, do we?
No, we don't.
We don't know what's going on in their personal lives.
Not really, no. We know little bits here and there, but to actually...
You pick it up as you go along. But
of course you do.
What I'm saying to it is, should we have more focus on talking to our players and getting to know a bit more about them? And then if you see the signs of... We've had it at SCEM. We've had players that have got themselves into trouble financially because of gambling.
Yeah.
Over the last 20, 30 years, I've seen it personally.
Yeah.
And it's not nice because it wrecks families. And it's easy to turn around and say, well, just find yourself something to do, shape up and sort yourself out. But unless you, and even getting yourself exiled, I forget, what's it called? Self-expulsion, is it? From
self-imposed exile.
Self-imposed exile from these betting apps.
Yeah.
Building up the courage to do that, because you're chasing your losses all the time, so you're throwing more money in it. So you start off with a 50p gamble, it turns into £1 because you've lost £5, then you go and doubles up to get your money back quicker. And ultimately you just get fed up with gambling. It just becomes a process of just trying to get back what you've lost. It's bloody horrible.
Yeah.
And I think I feel for Joe, but I'm glad he's come out there and he's made people aware. And I just hope that all the local betting fraternities, because that's the other thing, of course, isn't it? Even though if you prevent yourself from gambling on apps, it doesn't stop you from walking into a bookies and putting a bet on.
No, it doesn't. It's really difficult, isn't it? Because it's almost everywhere now, isn't it? We've got in Standish, there's 3. Like Standish is a very small village. There's 3 within the town centre.
Yeah.
There's 3. Far too many.
Yeah.
Sounds ridiculous, but more than is needed. More than is needed. And so I think that kind of, what do they call it now? Unconscious promotion or unconscious advertising, stuff like that. That's why the Premier League and like the professional football circuit is making such a point to try and get rid of the gambling sponsorship from shirts and from stadiums and things like that, because they want to try and advocate for a better use of money than gambling, or at least gambling responsibly. Yeah.
But gambling responsibly is a difficult conception, isn't it?
It's like getting somebody to drink responsibly.
You don't know at which point that is going to become irresponsible, when you get to that point where you're not in control, for argument's sake, you see all these flashing lights in Las Vegas and you go into these gambling dens and you see all these flashing things and the possibility of winning $1 million and things like that. You put a bit of money and then you become mesmerised by all the flashing lights and it's easy to get sucked into that world, isn't it?
Yeah, I suppose it is.
I'm a big bingo.
Yes, you are.
Addict, you know what I mean?
That's gambling.
I love the bingo, but you know what? It's relatively smaller bets.
Expenses,
it can be expensive.
Yeah, it can be. If you're playing them all,
but I don't think you can get really tired with bingo as well, you know what I mean? Like, you can get fed up and say, oh, listen. And particularly when the better weather comes. Like,
you're not going to be spending
I'll be sitting out in the garden. I won't be going out to the Mecca on
a
Tuesday night, I don't think.
Good lad.
I'm saying that, like, you know what?
I say, like, famous last words.
When I come back shaking at the end of summer or the beginning of the new season, and You know,
so anxious to put it on, to get the bets on.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I think I like to have a little flutter. I think it's, you know, if you can do it within reason and you can be responsible, gamble responsible, I think it's great for having a little bit of fun. Is it a necessary thing to have in your life? No, it's not really, is it?
No, it's not.
And it could, because it can cause so much damage, is it worth getting yourself sucked into it? It's a little bit like going for a crafty fag behind the bike sheds just because your mate's doing it, at which point, when you carry on doing that, you become addicted to it.
Or having a drink.
Yeah. I mean, people... I mean, I remember somebody once saying to me that alcoholism is more prominent than you actually think. So if you... Even if you drink just at a weekend... every weekend, if you've got to go out every weekend to have a drink, then you've got a form of alcoholism in itself.
Oh.
Would you agree with that? If you can't go a weekend without having a drink, do you think it's got a pull? It's got that magnetic.
But it's a bit more of a social pull, isn't it? Really, you know, you can.
You could argue that gambling in the bookies is a social thing because you go along and watch the races.
Yeah.
In the bookies, if you want, you see the more ardent.
Yeah.
Of races, and then you can at the races you can subscribe to that on Sky, and you can watch or other sources. You can watch the gambling. You can watch all the races, every single race right across the world. You can watch that all on TV. You can gamble on everything. And I think when they talked about these bigger Premiership stars that have done it, that's what they used to do. They bet on everything. They bet on
they did. They bet on like the university netball or something like that, didn't they? They just bet on any single sport in any field possible. Yeah. Just anything that had an opportunity to bring some money in, they do it.
Yeah. Well, I even I can't remember who it was now, but it was one of the obviously notable people who was talking about their gambling addiction, and he said that he got to the stage where he used to say to his friends, "If I tell you exactly how much is in your wallet, will you give it to me? And if I lose, I'll give you £100."
Jesus.
He'd gamble on that. He'd actually gamble on that. That's how bad gambling had got.
That's really bad. Yeah, that's proper stupid gambling, man.
Anyway, listen. Hopefully we'll get somebody on the show. Moving on to other controversies.
Stop.
Yes, Gary Neville. So I don't normally bring up sort of Gary Neville. I quite like Gary Neville. I know he's an acquired taste. Some like him, some don't. But the amount of abuse that he received in front of his wife, which was up on social media the other day, was totally unacceptable in my opinion.
Yeah.
But people are going around trying to justify a reason for attacking him because of his politics.
No.
He's often been accused of being a champagne socialist. That he talks like a socialist but lives like a
conservative. Yeah.
So I'm totally against any bombardment of anybody purely based on their politics or what you think of them. I even, like I said about Keir Starmer before, I feel sorry for the amount of stick behind the politician. There's a man, there's a human being, there's a father, there's a husband. Yeah. I even seen a picture the other day of him in a dress with who was the other person? Was it Justin? Who's the Prime Minister of France? Justin Trudeau?
No, that was Canada.
Oh, Canada. Oh, so it might have been him. Might have been them two both.
Justin. No, it's Mark. Mark Clayton, is it? The new Prime Minister of Canada.
I don't know. Anyway, there was a picture between two politicians. One was Keir Starmer. They were both dressed up in dresses and they were kissing each other. And it's ridiculous. We've got to that stage now when when they reflect on this, what would they do if their fathers or their sons were subjected to the same amount of abuse? They wouldn't like it, would they?
No.
So why do they do it? And I think it's
easy target because they're not really going to defend themselves, are they?
No. I mean, give Gary Neville his due. He's since said on the overlap that, he was a little bit disappointed with it. He didn't dwell on it. I think he went to a James concert. He was on his way into a James concert when somebody had pulled him up. And he said his only regret was he didn't film him himself.
Yeah.
He said because he thinks that if he'd have been filming he wouldn't have.
He
wouldn't have put that on social media. But we're living in that era where people want hits and impressions. And
yeah, it is.
Sad.
It's pathetic.
Anyway, listen, Liverpool County Premier League. Just sort of mention it briefly because we've talked about the expansion from 12 teams to 16 potentially next season in our division. And Formby will form a part of that. But how bloody weird will that be? So Skelmersdale United playing an away game at the ground that once played at against a team from Formby playing at the JMO. You just couldn't write it, could you?
No, that's really kind of Twilight Zone kind of thing. So Formby FC, who play their home games at the JMO, have announced that they will be part of the expanded Liverpool County Premier League for the 26-27 season. That will mean playing Skelmersdale United in Skelmersdale, with Skelmersdale as the away team. Go figure. We might get a big gate for that one, to be fair.
Yeah, listen, we know, we've heard all the politics about Claybrow and they've taken over the running of JMO on Saturdays and Sundays. We know what their ambitions are as well. But listen, I have to say at this point that I've said it before. I started out my term here, my second term at the helm of the football club 3 years ago, going directly, as I mentioned, I think I mentioned it earlier on in the show, didn't I? Going directly to Jay Howarth and asking whether there was a possibility of amalgamating the two teams. That didn't happen. We know what we've already mentioned that. But I spoke to the people that run the JMO at the time, and the last time I spoke to them was on the 2nd of January, and I'm still waiting for a phone call now off, I assume it's John Mallinson's sidekick.
What did you ask them? Or what did you contact them about?
Well, I said to them at the time, I said, listen, given the fact that you've been offering an olive branch to everybody, because the JMO facility had fallen by the wayside, it was in a state of disrepair. The south pitch, which we used to play on, as we already know, it's historically, we know that it failed a FIFA bounce test, and that's why we ended up playing at Bearsco. That now is in the process of being recovered. We know that, so that means that it's got potential for a team, not a team that's ambitious and wants to get back into the Northwest Counties. Because where we are now, you don't need a FIFA bounce test; you just need a simple FA licence to play on a pitch. But in order to be ambitious, what you want to be playing in a place where you've got potential for moving up and taking your promotion if it should happen. So when they were offering the olive branch, because they've fallen out with an awful lot of people, a lot of people have been treated really disrespectfully, paying an awful lot of money into that system and getting shortchanged out of it. If you're going to spend that amount of money year in, year out, sending your kids to play there, and teams that were playing on there as well, like Claybrow, the facility's getting worse. You're still paying the same, but you're probably paying more annually. It's going up. It did with us when we were training there. They put the training costs up, but they weren't increasing the standard of the pitches. So I just basically said, when does that olive branch extend to Skelmersdale United Football Club? Because we'd like to come back. Now, whether we were going to go back there, temporarily or not, it doesn't really matter. It's not really part of the equation. But the fact that we asked, is there a possibility that we could go back there? And then to have silence since the 2nd of January, since I last spoke to Steve Tomlinson, I had no. So when people asked the question about why didn't you do this, you should have done that. Well, the simple matter of the fact is that I tried it. On both occasions, and both let me down. So, it is weird.
But it'll be good to play Formby. Regardless of what happened, good team, good setup. We played them.
Bobby Shirley, he's the manager. Yeah, and he's been doing a really sterling job there. Yeah, greatest of respect to him. Congratulations to him and to Formby, because as we know, Formby in a similar position to us, they used to play in Formby and eventually being forced to, sort of into a nomadic lifestyle, culminating in them playing at the JMO. It doesn't make sense. 2 towns that maybe need to knock their heads together and come up with solutions. But you know what? If people won't talk to you, people don't listen, you can't do anything about it. No. But listen, I think Formby have got a possibility of getting back to Formby sooner rather than later. So they're working on something behind the scenes, and it would be nice to get Bobby Shelley on the show and listen about their plans for the future as well, because I think they want to get back into the Northwest Counties.
Sounds good. Bobby, give us a call.
Yeah, but listen, finishing off the controversial issues. Now, I only found this out last minute today when I was doing my research. So Kings Lynn, we remember the story about the Sprinkler Gate. They've been fined a whopping £10,000 by the National League Disciplinary Panel for the breach of League Rule 8.11. Each club must take every precaution to keep its ground in good playing conditions. So, as we know, the allegation was that they had inclement rainy weather anyway, but then they put the sprinkler system on overnight to make sure that the game didn't get played the following day. So they've obviously been found guilty of it.
Yeah, they have. And it's cost them a hell of a lot of money, actually, by any standards.
I imagine there'll be some kind of appeal there.
I would have thought
that'll probably be lowered or suspended, maybe. I don't know. I don't know how stringent that rule is, but you know what? That was an expensive watering session.
Yes, it does. Yeah, the cheesecake of consequence rarely arrives without calories.
Well, listen, I remember watching, because you were talking about that thing that you've been watching on Netflix.
Perfect.
I remember watching a police camera action or whatever it was, where some fella after a night out had decided to pee in an alleyway and he got fined on the spot, something like £80 or something like that. The cop turned around and said, "That's the most expensive piss you've ever taken." He said, He said, "What did you want me to do? Piddle me keks?"
Yeah.
So in many ways, this is the most expensive lesson that Kings Lynn will ever learn. Let's hope they've got a few bob, or they've got a chairman with deep pockets,
or they turned off the water and saved themselves a bit of money.
Well, let's hope that the chairman was aware of this, because right now I'd be looking at my manager and I'd be looking at my groundsman and saying, "Listen, what did you concoct? Why did you do this with not coming to me first?"
Yeah.
But what a bizarre story. Well, one of the funniest stories, but it's not really got a happy ending for them, is it?
No, it doesn't have a happy ending. It's just one that you laugh at, really, isn't it?
Yeah. So listen, we'll finish off with Leicester City, because we mentioned Hereford, but Leicester City, going from winning the Premier League not so long back, right down into League One.
For next season.
Listen, it's not been unheard of. Manchester City fell from grace, as we know, many moons ago. Many blue moons ago.
Manchester United before that as well. United won the Champions League in '68 and were relegated in '74.
Yeah.
So that's
a bit more of a tumble with City, wasn't it?
They were in danger of going out of the Football League completely, weren't they, back in 1992?
Well, they dropped. They got relegated twice in succession, didn't they? They ended up in what was the
old Division 3
at the time.
Sunderland a bit more recently as well. They had back-to-back relegations across 2017 and 2018 as well.
But have you seen the complex that Leicester have got? Have you seen?
Yes, I have. I've been there.
Have you?
I've been there. Yeah,
amazing.
I've been to the training complex. I've been to the stadium. It's all.
So where's it all gone wrong?
My theory is that this went wrong, or at least it started to go wrong the moment the old owner died in a helicopter crash in 2017. Now, don't get me wrong, his son came on board as the main man, and he won the FA Cup in 2021, but that was still on the basis of a team that was largely put together by Brendan Rodgers, containing still Jamie Vardy, James Maddison, Yuri Tielemans, Harry Maguire, sorry, not Harry Maguire. He'd gone by 2020, but nonetheless, there was a really good core of a team there that just, they were sold off. Vardy obviously left a couple of years ago. Maddison was sold to Spurs. Various players have kind of gone on their way, and the replacement just hasn't been good enough. The quality that was sanctioned by the chairman just wasn't there. In terms of funds, and I think it's just gone downhill ever since. Just poor players.
So it's 10 years ago since they
won the Premier League.
They won the Premier League, and of course the season after they were playing in the Champions League, as we know. A lot of the issues sort of culminated around about the COVID area because King Power, the duty-free retailer owned by...
In the airport.
What's his name? Vishay?
Sure.
Whatever his name is.
Very long name.
Obviously with airline travel halted, it had a huge impact on their financial position.
Yeah.
So, really, really desperate. And then I think there's been a 6-point deduction.
Financial rules.
Yeah.
Yes. But even so, they've still got big names in their squad. They still had Patson Daka, who was part of the team in the Premier League. They've still got Chowdhury, who plays in the midfield. Hassan Chowdhury, with the big afro, he still plays in there.
But can they afford to keep him?
Oh no, God no. They'd have to let him go.
So they're not going to get back up anytime soon, by the sounds of it. And there's even stories going around that they might end up having to start with a points reduction next season as well.
Yeah, that is possible. Yeah, and it even talks about their wage bill now. So
do you think this is too draconian? Because still now, I mean, the only team that I can recall getting points deductions in the Premier League, and I'm talking about the Premier League, has been Everton in recent times. Yeah. Manchester City are still avoiding points deductions. They should be in probably the National League North right now, or maybe even the North West Counties, based on the points deductions that they should get. Is there arguably is there an argument to say that the likes of the Premier League or the Football Association should be helping clubs when they spiral out of control for relatively sort of reasons like we say about the COVID having an impact.
But
on the
how long
finances.
is COVID going to be an issue for which to kind of blame current day issues now? Because it was 6 years ago since we were first put into the lockdown, and 5 near enough since we came out of it. And there are teams what have still been able to establish a good financial base and a financial structure. I think Leicester's is just wasteful. I've been looking at their wage bill right now. They were in the Premier League 2 years ago. Their wage bill was £150 million for the season.
Well, Brendan Rodgers did go on record, didn't he? I think he was managing them at the time.
Yeah.
And he did turn around and say that Leicester have got to be very careful with the spending.
Yeah, exactly. So they've... the accumulated losses since 2019 has reached 375 million. So last month, Leicester reported a deficit of 71.1 million for the 2024-25 season when they were in the Premier League. Future finances have been cashed in to keep the club running as well. So loans have been taken out with investment banks that are worth about £100 million at a rate of 8 to 9% interest. They bought in players like Harry Winks, former Tottenham player. He's on £90,000 a week. They've got Patson Daka, as I say, who's on I think 60. So
isn't this a little bit like the gambling addiction, really? In terms of you're gambling your football club away because you want to get You want
straight back.
You want to recoup your losses.
Yeah.
And the only way to do it is where the big money is back in the Premier League. But if somebody like Brendan Rodgers is turning around and saying, listen, be careful now, you're overspending, and it's going to have an effect on you further down the line, then yeah,
it is, isn't it?
In spite of the COVID situation, regardless of that, you've still got to keep your house in order, haven't you?
Yeah, you do have to keep your house in order.
But is it a gamble? Is it?
It's a huge gamble.
But these are gambling all the time on their own.
Yeah, of course they are. But you're always taking a gamble when you're signing a player, don't you? You're always taking a gamble on a player who.
But financially, you're gambling. You're speculating to accumulate.
Yeah.
To get yourself back into a position of power.
Which is ironic because
so this hasn't just happened. It hasn't just happened now, has it? It's happened the minute that they won that Premier League. They were already spending too much money. The season after, they finished in the semi-finals of the Champions League, and then that season, then I think they finished in 8th or 11th. I can't remember what it was. Was it 8th? So they're starting to tumble down again. They're still spending. Overspending,
overachieving certainly.
Well, we all felt they overachieved when they won the Premiership, but the Premiership was a poor Premiership that season.
It was, yeah. There was no way they'd done it if teams weren't hitting top form.
The people that suffer the most are the supporters.
Yeah, of course they are. Yeah, but the thing is, like Leicester is a 40,000.
Stadium, yeah.
40,000 seater stadium. It can hold those decent numbers. You would like to think that it would continue to hold those, even when they, start making their,
It's never been considered a hotbed of football, has it? And that's Leicester. Probably the biggest thing, isn't it? There seems to be more protection for the likes of the Uniteds, the cities of the world. Well, more the city right now. We're talking about Manchester City apparently getting away with murder. And I just think, listen, I feel sorry for the supporters.
Yeah, so do I.
It's a Roy of the Rovers stuff, but as we always know, that once you've reached that pinnacle, then the sort of flip side to that is failure, isn't it?
Yeah, of course.
When you've achieved more than you should have done, then the flip side is spectacular failure, and this is what's happened there, and we can see it going even worse. Listen, I'm pretty sure that. Has there been any speculation about new ownership or anybody coming in to take over?
No, not necessarily.
Because they're still selling the story that we're going to be okay, don't worry.
Yeah, they have, yeah.
They gave a press release the other day, didn't they? Say, listen, it's not what we wanted. We didn't expect to be here, but it's happened now. We understand the feeling, but we're still fighting.
Pretty much, yeah. So they've... I'll start with this one. Is that they've the current chairman is Kun Top. That's his sort of nickname. Okay, and he's taken personal blame for the club's decline. And the fans of the club want him to go, but he says that. Although they've lost 272 million between the 2021-22 season when they reached the Conference League semi-finals, and then again when they dropped out of the Premier League again, but it's had a lot of difficulties with profit and sustainability rules, and again, as I say, have been spending far too much money on players that just aren't good enough. The director of football's been another focal point for the fan anger because he's put together a really high-priced squad that's underachieved and probably one of the worst performing sides in the club's history. The current kind of two strikers at the minute, Jordan Ayew and Patson Daka, have scored 11 goals between them. That's it. You've got Harry Winks, Yannick Vestergaard, Hamza Chowdhury, all kind of Premier League players. Big earners, very, very big earners.
Winks ended up having a heated,
yes, he did,
conversation with the supporter, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. But in my lifetime, I've actually used to have good friends in Leicester, so I've seen Leicester City play in the old League One. Nigel Pearson was their manager back then, but they were still getting big crowds. I can't remember who they were playing. It might have been Norwich City. They beat them 4-0. In front of a really good crowd. I think there was about 30,000 there. So I think, I wonder if they kind of need to have like a bit of a cultural reset at the minute where they just get rid of all the high-earning deadwood and start again. Like, obviously, it's going to be easier said than done, but I think that they placed such a gamble on all of these players who were proven Premier League players in their own right to be able to just get them bouncing straight back up into the Premier League, and it hasn't worked. Not only hasn't it worked, it's backfired in the worst way possible. Like, the TV deals won't be there anymore. It's only about 2
Well, that's what I was going to come to there.
One.
So Top has already... He's previously written off millions of pounds in loans.
Yeah.
But he's also been told that, obviously, television revenues are going to be much lower in League One.
Certainly will.
There'll come a point where there's not much left to take out loans against.
Nope.
So from next season, clubs in League One will be restricted to spending 60% of their extra football income, such as prize money, cup earnings or transfer fees received on player-related expenditure.
Wow.
So with many players still at the club in League One terms on astronomical wages.
£90,000 and such, like that's what Harry Winks is on.
Yeah.
It's ludicrous, isn't it? But I think they're going to be in more of a black hole at this point unless they can, get players bought off of these wages and start bringing in a little bit more revenue there. It's going to be some very, very testy times for Leicester City in much the same way that it was with us 5 years ago, really. You've just got to navigate the worst of the waters in order to get yourself on a financial even keel.
Yeah. Well, listen, we'll wrap that one up for now and just wish them all the best for the future, which is the thing we can really do. But listen, moving on to our final part of the show, the predictions and our expert analysis, and just looking for the fixtures, can't find them. I've lost mine.
You sausage.
Let's talk about last week's results first of all.
God, he's thrilled.
Well, I'm saying I'm thrilled. I was actually a little bit disappointed in some areas, but more than made up for it in others. So there wasn't many fixtures to predict on. So,
no, there wasn't. So it was never going to be the high scoring.
So do you want me to go first, or do you want me to go second?
You go first then.
Right, okay. I scored a grand total of 17.
16.
16? Hey! I've won again. Oh, God. I'm so good at this. Yes, really am. But I'm so pleased with it. I think that sort of sums up your season, really, doesn't it? It's a bit like...
No, went on an amazing run, just dropped off, unfortunately.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's no good, though, is it? Having a drop-off.
Shut up.
Yeah, I'd sooner sustain that pressure, which you clearly thought you had, but I lost the results pages, so I couldn't really tell you what was what.
That's not my problem.
Nope, it certainly wasn't. But listen, we haven't got many results to predict. But what we do know is the First Division Champions Cup is on Saturday.
Runcorn
Town versus Nelson. Really interesting one, this, because both teams, really good managers, had a huge effect. I must say both sets of managers, I should say. Joint management team at Runcorn, and of course Aaron Ripley
flying solo at Nelson.
Nelson doing an exceptional job, as we know, and it's really difficult one to predict. But does it give you an indication of the difference between North and South, or do we think? I think Runcorn are. I think Runcorn Town are there or thereabouts in Division 1 North. Yeah. If they were in Division, if they'd have been competing in Division 1 North.
Yeah, I think so too. I think they were streets ahead of Division 1 South, as we've already said. But then if you look at their cup runs as well, they're in two of them. They're in two cup finals still to be played. You know, the Edward Case Cup is coming on Thursday. They've got this one, and that's even before the Midland Prem. And you know, the history has been there of Division 1 South teams going into the Midland Prem and absolutely smashing it. You know, Winsford got into the playoffs this season. So for me, I think this is going to be far more evenly contested than what we thought. In terms of who it'll be, it's Nelson's last game of the season, whereas Runcorn have one on Thursday, or they'll have to regroup for. I'm going to go with Runcorn.
You're going to go with Runcorn?
I am.
Yeah. Do you think it might be one of those that's just decided on penalties and really something? it's the what's we call it, just one or the
fine
other,
margins. Yeah,
I don't think it would be a great deal of difference. But you're going for Runcorn.
I am.
I'm going for Runcorn as well, I think.
Right then.
Right, so moving on to the First Division North playoff semi-finals on Saturday. Droylsden at home to Squires Gate.
I think Droylsden will win that one, personally.
Yeah, I think it'll be a difficult one for in front of a huge gate, but I think if anybody's going to pull the shock off, it could be Squires Gate. But I've got to say, I fancy Droylsden for promotion, and I still think that they could still do it. So I'm going for Droylsden there. Mm-hmm. So looking at the next one.
MSB Walton versus McGull. Oh, well, this is a weird one, because we rooted for McGull kind of from the start, really. We thought it was going to be them. But they've not quite fashioned it the way that we thought, although they have kind of pulled themselves together eventually. Only 3 points difference between them and MSB Walton. I feel like it's a McGull kind of game, this one. I know MSB Walton home turf and Jericho Lane obviously AstroTurf, whereas McGull play on grass. But I think the way McGull's set up defensively and attack-wise, I think there's more in their locker. So I'm going to say McGull. Yeah,
listen, I tend to agree with you there. I think McGull have had a sort of good finish to the season. MSB Walton, it would be no shame on them if they don't get into the playoff
first season in counties, isn't it? And they've done exceptionally well, finishing third in the regular season and won 50% of their games. That's really good. It's really good.
Yeah, definitely. So moving on to Division 1 South playoff semi-finals, Eccleshall are at home to Stafford Town.
That's a bit straightforward for me. I think it's Eccleshall.
I don't know whether it's straightforward. And the reason I say this is because a lot of teams that finish in runners-up spots don't always carry that momentum into the semi-finals.
This is true.
That said, they've never really been competing for top spot. So I think on this occasion, I don't think the home advantage will make any difference whatsoever. I really don't. I think it'll be a tight game. But I've just got this feeling that Stafford Town are going to win it. So I'm going to, against me better wisdom, if that's the right terminology, I'm going to go for Stafford Town.
All right then.
New Mills versus Stockport Georgians.
This is very difficult because this is probably about the closest of any of the teams that you're going to get. So New Mills and Stockport Georgians both finished on 63 points. New Mills won 18 games, the Georgians won 17. Okay, they both scored 73 goals, but New Mills conceded 36 compared to the Georgians' 42. The Georgians are also the draw specialists in the division. They drew 12, where New Mills drew 9.
Penalties?
It could conceivably end up penalties. And you'd probably fancy New Mills, to be honest.
I'm going for New Mills because I'd like to. I think it's just one of them charming sort of quintessential non-league grounds, and I think a lot of teams up in the Premier Division won't look forward to going there on a wet and windy Tuesday night.
Well, no, the same way that they don't look forward to going to Glossop, North End. It's the same kind of area, isn't it? So I'll say New Mills too.
I'm going for New Mills as well.
Yeah.
So moving on to the playoff semi-finals in the Premier Division, Atherton LR home to Padiham.
That's Atherton LR for me.
Well, I'm going to go for Atherton LR because I believe that they've got the momentum, and I think losing that game the other week was a timely time to lose that tag of an unbeaten run. So I think they're going to race through to the final. So
do I.
Yeah, I'm going for Atherton LR. Ramsbottom United versus Chadderton.
Ramsbottom for me. They've been consistent all season. I know that they dropped off a little bit, but I think they've got far more nous about them than Chadderton have. Chadderton rely on Lewis Byrne far too much for their own good, and I think that will be their undoing in this one. So it's a Rammy win.
Well, I'm going to go for Ramsbottom, but I'm very, very close to changing my mind because I just think that if it's down to firepower, then we've seen the draw between Atherton LR and well, listen, we know that Ramsbottom have got a very good defensive record.
Of course they do.
but up against Lewis Burn, I don't know.
Well, that'll be what that defence is tested with, isn't it? Is Lewis Burn and Ben Lowe and Benito Lowe. So
if they can keep them out.
Oh God, yeah! If they can keep them out, then that's
the rare occasions that they've both been kept out of. If it's not one, it's the other school.
Well, it was FC St Helens the other week, wasn't it, that kept them to 0. So stranger things have happened, but I think that is.
I'll go along with you. I'm going to go for Ramsbottom as well. So moving to the Edward Case Cup final, which is next Thursday, played at Exton Villa. It's Darwen FC versus Runcorn Town. I'm going for Runcorn Town.
So
most definitely.
Right.
So listen, the playoff finals are being confirmed. So Saturday, the 2nd of May. The First Division North playoffs and the First Division South playoffs, as well as the Premier Division playoffs, will be on the 2nd of May. They'll all be played on the 2nd of May, obviously to be confirmed once the results.
Once the semis,
the semis are concluded. Yeah,
exactly. So we've got a bit of waiting to do until then, haven't we?
So. Has anything surprised you about the season in terms of teams where they've finished and where they've been those that have been relegated?
Yeah, I mean we talked about this a little bit last week, didn't we? So I think we've kind of got to start with the obvious one, which is City and Liverpool back-to-back relegations, a threat to their existence.
We've seen that one coming a little bit, didn't we? But we didn't think it was going to be as tragic as this.
No, I didn't think it was going to be as tragic as that. It's really disappointing for them. I think as well, I didn't anticipate West Didsbury and Chorlton to finish as low as 9th.
No, neither did I.
No, they made the playoffs last year. Were beaten by Lower Breck in the semi-finals, so that was a bit more of a difficult one. So yeah, and I think I don't know. Maybe it's a bit tight for me to say, but I honestly thought Burscough would do a little bit better.
Yeah, I think Bearscough, they shocked me a little bit. I thought they were going to be in the playoffs.
And they looked like they were going to up until about February time, didn't it? And then it petered out. Unfortunately, then they put all their eggs into the cup run, and that didn't.
He's got a bit of a rebuild there, Dempsey.
He does have a bit of a rebuild. Yeah, you're right, and I think the rebuild will be. Yeah, of course he does. But I think he'll be given the facilities to do that as well. Yeah. I think the coffers have improved a little bit under Jay's regime, so I would think that there's a bit more to spend on players for next season. If we look at division,
can I just say though, off the field in terms of Bearscough, there's been an improvement in the sort of community ethos of the football club. Now there's been an improvement in gates as well.
Yes,
so it's all heading in the right direction. I think to get that extra finances, they've got to sort of bring them gates up through the 200s on a regular basis to achieve greater success. And I think that's what they'll want. They'll want to improve on what they've already done.
Yeah.
Or particularly what Jayhawks has done over the last 12 months. Mm-hmm. They've done a fantastic job with the local community there.
100%.
And if they keep doing that,
I think they really will push the players.
Bring more support to the football club.
Yeah, I think it will. Okay, so Division 1 North. I think the main disappointments for me... Darwen finishing 6th. Ashton Town. Holker Old Boys less so, to be honest. I thought they'd...
Holker Old Boys, I thought they could, they could perform... miracles
they were in the playoffs.
Does it?
Yeah, they were in the playoffs last season, and again, it didn't work out for them.
I don't think I expected McGull to be in the top 5.
I said, I did, to be honest. Bringing in the signings,
I can't find the predictions, so we need to listen to the first.
We do need to listen to that first episode, don't we? But I did think McGull were going to be there or thereabouts. To be honest, the signings that they'd made in the early part of that season were really good, and so kind of with that in mind, I thought that they'd be sort of there or thereabouts. I think we've already talked about Daisy Hill and kind of the perennial disappointment surrounding them. In terms of who I've really appreciated, I think MSB Walton, obviously.
Squires Gate.
I didn't expect
Squires Gate were the strugglers, weren't they, last season?
They were the strugglers in the early part of this season. I think they, 6 months ago, they were sort of down in 15th and what have you, and then they've just put on an irrepressible run of form and squeaked into the playoffs by a point. But nonetheless, that doesn't undo all the good work that what's his name over at Squires Gate now? Jake something.
Is it?
I don't know.
I'll take your word for it.
Anyway.
Well, listen, moving backwards down to the bottom of the league, I didn't expect Main Road to finish up in a relegation spot.
No, I didn't. And I think they will be relegated as well. I know we've got the R on all three teams there, but the initial indications are that Ashton Athletic will get the reprieve, but Garstang and Main Road will be relegated.
How can they relegate? Because Ashton are above Garstang. Yeah, that makes sense. So Ashton will get a reprieve, yeah?
I believe so. Yeah, that's what the initial maps are suggesting at this time. Obviously, things can change, depending on what the league, decides, on what the FA decides.
Yeah.
But, Now then, First Division South. To be honest, I think New Mills
it's
really
much harder to predict, isn't it?
The fairy tale team is New Mills, without a doubt. I think they've done exceptionally well. I think signing Saul Henderson was a stroke of genius. I mean, the guy's kind of been around the block as far as counties football is concerned, but he's still scoring goals for Mills, and getting them up into third place with the third best goal difference in the league as well. Not achievement not to be sniffed at. Asheville, I think, have done particularly well as well. Just finishing outside the playoffs. Quite unfortunate for them that if they'd won at Sandbach, they may have actually been with a little bit more of a shout, depending on how many they'd scored. But
wasn't expecting Market Drayton to go down. I didn't see that one coming.
No, I didn't either. Again,
then I didn't see Wolverhampton Casuals having a revival.
No, I didn't see that either. 11 wins.
Or Alsage at one stage. Alsage looked as though they were doomed.
Yeah.
Shawbury.
And Shawbury as well. Yeah, the Matty Boswell chapter really kind of
done a good job there.
Pulled that out of the frying pan. So fair play to him. The initial maps that we're looking at the minute shows that Market Drayton are getting a reprieve. I don't know how. So. Don't know how accurate that's going to be again when June comes around. But that's initially what's been happening. All change at Market Drayton. Obviously, Dan Dawson stepped down. The chairman has also confirmed he is stepping down as well. So it's a completely new era for the Gingerbread Men.
Yeah, I think Dan Dawson's sort of confidence as well. I think he might get a reprieve, which I think he'll be pleased with as well. Cause
even though he's not in the hot seat anymore, I think it's a decent enough outcome on which to end his legacy with the club.
Yeah. So listen, that rounds up the Northwest Counties and our predictions, albeit...
It is worth noting that our predictions are exactly the same, so we will finish on a tie for the final couple of weeks of the season.
Oh, right. Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay, so in terms of a tie break...
Of course.
So let's quickly then, let's pick the...
Just pick a game.
We'll pick a game and we'll say Runcorn versus Nelson. Is it a penalty win?
No.
Oh, you can't really do that, because I'm going to say no as well, because I don't want to say yes.
Well,
in case I'm wrong.
Scoreline then, and whoever's closest wins.
Right. Okay, let's go. Runcorn. Go on, what are you going for?
I am going to go for Runcorn 3, Nelson 1.
You know what? I was going to go for 3-1.
Yeah.
I was going to go for 3-1, but you know what?
Stop gatekeeping, man.
But you know what? I'll go for 2-1.
All right then.
2-1, so that'll be the tiebreaker.
There's the tiebreaker.
Right, okay, that's sorted that one out. We'll know one way or another whether I'm the king of the week again. But listen,
I'm the king of the week again.
Yeah. So listen, what have we learned so far this week? Oh wait, listen, we haven't even talked about Scam, have we?
No. Yeah.
Well, listen, briefly, we're playing
Liverpool now.
our final. Oh, listen, yeah, we've got to pay respect to that. We can't just leave that, can we? God, how did we forget about our own team? There's that much to cover, I suppose. But so we played Nalgo in our last game at the Marine Travel Arena on Saturday. Very much looking forward to the game. We've been really, really well looked after at the Marine, thanks to James and Paul Leary for allowing us to play there.
And Colin for facilitating every single
Well, I was going
game.
to mention Colin has been an absolute godsend. What what magnificent bloke he is.
Yeah.
I can't remember the girl's name, but she's been very helpful as well. So there's lots of names in my head. But yeah, particularly Colin, he's been very accommodating. It's been a pleasure to get to know him, and he said that he'll be coming to watch the occasional game at Bearsco, so we're looking forward to that. As for Nalgo, I went and watched Nalgo versus Waterloo Dock on Saturday, so I watched that before I went and watched the Litherland game.
Who won?
Waterloo Dock.
Really?
Yeah, Waterloo Dock. Can't remember what the scoreline was now, but
flipping heck.
Yeah. Waterloo Dock next season are going to be a real. So they were losing 1-0 at half time, I think, and then they got it back to 1-1. Or did they get it back to 1-1 before half time? I can't remember, but either way, they won the game in the end. They turned it around.
Very good.
And you could see it coming. I felt as though Nalgo were a little bit toothless up front. Their sort of main sort of play is aerial stuff, so corners and free kicks. They're really, really good at delivery in terms of that. Going forward, the ball in front of them, I don't know, they overplay things a little bit. But they managed to get a fair amount of corners. But Waterloo Dock next season, I think, are going to be a really good team. They're a good team now. They look like a good team. But they look as though they could be in the top 5 next season. They're in the top 5 now, aren't they, to be fair?
They are just about 5th, yeah, I think.
Yeah.
We beat them.
I think they're top 3 or 4 next season. I think they do better.
I think they're
A
starting
really
to build
well
something.
organised, well-drilled team, managed really well. Can't remember the name of the manager, but he's decent
gaffer.
manager as well, yeah.
All right. Then.
So, yeah, I think it'd be nice to win our final game at the Marine Travel Arena Stadium, and I think we can do it.
Okay.
I'm looking forward to the game. It'd be nice to sign off there with a victory.
Yes.
And then, of course, when we've got our remaining 2 games, which we'll mention in the next
week
show. But, yeah, congratulations have to go, and I think we've already mentioned it once, but congratulations again go to the winners of the Liverpool County Premier League. The Grenadiers done a fabulous job. I know arguably they've already dropped a point. They've got the best. We know that on paper, technically, they've got the best record in Europe in terms of their unbroken record, their winning streak. But as we know, one of those games was a 1-1 draw with Daysbrook, which is not registered now. So they've remained unbeaten all the way through the season. They've only got cup finals to contest now, haven't they? Or they'll have a game.
No, they've got a couple of quarters and semis. There's
still got league games to play.
They've got. Yeah, I think they've got 2 games.
So they still could lose before the end of the season.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're hoping.
I don't know what to tell you.
Anyway, listen. Also, it's been a pleasure to get to know the Liverpool County Premier League. What doesn't break you makes you stronger.
Yeah,
and I think that probably sums up us so far. I think we've learnt an awful lot. I think we've had a stronger second half to the season. And I think if you could put that at the beginning of the season, we finish in the top 5.
I think you're probably right.
I know that's a bold statement, but I think a lot of teams that have played us will say that we're not as easy as
what the position in the league suggests. Yeah, of course. Yeah, there were some where we were well beaten, but then there were others where, for personnel not being there or really just poor displays that we shouldn't have had, there were probably about 3 or 4 games within that season that we win.
I think going with the wrong manager at the beginning of the season didn't help us.
Well, no, we hadn't quite found
we already had the right manager there. We didn't recruit him.
He was hiding.
he was there. He was there in plain sight. But
I think we've got good management set up now.
Yeah,
of course.
And of course, Barney's got more time now so
he'll be there.
Free up. So yeah, he was there at training on Wednesday. Absolutely brilliant to have him back on board.
Yeah, it
amazing.
is.
So yeah, really looking forward to next
He should
season.
be there on Saturday, shouldn't he?
Yeah, he'll definitely be there on Saturday. So listen, we get to that final part of the show. We've tried it once, we'll try it for the second time. But what have you learned so far?
Oh, goodness me. I've learned that anything that Premier League players or clubs have to deal with, non-league players and clubs also have to deal with, maybe on slightly quieter terms, but it's still stuff that it still can be a struggle. Gambling, pressure from fans, self-expectation. All of this emotion and difficulty isn't lost on players, even down at non-league level, and it affects. If it can affect one, it can affect us all.
Yeah, totally agree with you there. It takes an awful lot of bravery to admit that you've got an issue, and once it's out there, people can help you with it. Fantastic. I think we mentioned opening up a can of worms before, and I think sometimes people need to be a little bit more careful in terms of context and suggesting things, and without being able to really back them up. I don't know whether it sort of applies. It puts a sort of bit of prejudice on football clubs that making huge assumptions rather than knowing the facts of it. Yet we know that the balance sheets are sort of vary, and there's sort of cute, clever accounting right across the board. But you know what? We're not talking about millions of pounds here, are we? We're not talking about false accounting at Premier League football clubs or
115 charges.
Yeah, we're not talking about that. So yeah, I can understand where you're hurt and you're feeling hurt because it's your football club and you want to protect it, and you feel as though it's been disadvantaged because there's a vendetta against you. I think you've got to get that out of your head. As soon as you get that out of your head, the vendetta's gone. It's I think you can almost bring bad publicity to the football club by just suggesting that there's a vendetta, and I don't honestly believe that there is. By and large, now I think the non-leaguing aficionados, the people that are really truly non-league football, understand it all now. They get it, and they like it, and they want people to prosper, particularly FC United and Manchester. I was hoping they'd go up automatically because it's a story. It's a great story. The context of it is great. Starting from nothing and rising through the ranks. And listen, we hope that would be the case with the likes of the Witnesses and Flixtons. But I would once again argue the case at we mentioned it before several times now, that if we'd have gone out of business at the end of last season and started up again, would we have got a chance in the North West Counties this season? That debate will go on until we can actually pin somebody down and talk about it. But yeah, listen, be careful what you wish for, how you conduct yourself, and the people that you slate along the way, because it just makes your job a lot harder. So yeah, steer clear if you can. So on that basis, listen, I'll leave the final words in this pulsating episode of I was going to say the non-league show. It is a non-league show, but the Speaking Frankly football show, so the dulcet tones of AJ Vergette.
You've been listening to the Speaking Frankly Football Show with me, AJ Vergette, and my co-host, Mr. Frank Hughes. This podcast is available on streaming services wherever you get your podcasts, including Amazon and Amazon Music and Spotify. Please rate and review, as we do thrive off hearing your feedback. Please also subscribe so that you can find out firsthand when a new episode of the show has been released. We're also available on social media sites, including most prevalently Facebook and X, under the banner term Speaking Frankly Football Show. And so from myself and Frank, thank you very, very much for listening, and we will see you next week with another episode of the show. Until then, a very goodbye for now.